Hey y'all, welcome back to what is probably going to be our last episode of this series for 1.7 because tomorrow, in mere hours actually, I'm recording this way later than I should, the 1.8 update will be dropping along with the Pivot of Empire DLC. That should be fun, and I'm going to have a lot of fun time replaying Russia in 1.8 and seeing how that is, but for now, we're going to try to drive this, growing socialist republic as far as we can towards 1936. I don't think we'll hit 1936, but we'll see. And it right off the bat again, we had this is the second time we're having to fight a war over North African territory because France just can't get enough. I don't know what's up with France's deal here, but it just cannot get enough of trying to seize places from us. So, obviously, we're going to fight France. We're going to get the economy rolling. I've got to try to move this along. Ooh, Spain is willing to join this war? Oh, France, you are possibly doomed. No one really wants to join you? Oh, France, you are doomed. Mobilize the entire... I don't know why I hit upgrade. I don't know what it's upgrading. I hope that doesn't bite me later. Anyway, we're going to mobilize the whole army. Realize that we do need to make a decision over Brazil because the liberal revolt there is wary towards us, but I mean, we could just let it collapse. There's little reason not to. You know what? Let's ignore the whole Brazil situation right now. I do need to make sure we're importing enough rubber. We'll just kind of pop these on here. Let's just focus on beating down France, because if we beat down France, then that'll be good for us. Oh, right, yes, we are missing construction. Because I'm having that slight bug issue again, where it says we have +1, but we actually don't, because things have kind of bugged out here and bugged out there. Oh, speaking of bugs, I did see that the devs in the public chat mentioned that they are going to have a fix for this in 1.8 where this unused arable land, this extra unused arable land is appearing, so that'll be good. Apparently they were already aware of that and working on a fix, and we learned about that today in the Discord chat for Victoria Free, which is fantastic. Trying to see if I can make something like tea plantations here, just because I noticed it's one of our more expensive goods, and then I remembered we've been running out of territory to do that in, so, you know. Yay, we're running out of people to do the work. Is this the part where it's like insert no one wants to work anymore here, but the reality is just we literally don't have anyone to employ at this point? And we just literally need to like have more people coming around. Anyway, if tea doesn't work, what about coffee? That's basically just the New World in a nutshell. And, you know, same song and dance really at this point. We could make a lot here, but there's no peasants, there's practically no one employed. We could technically try wine, but in 1.7 wine is really disappointing. Libya can make wine? Wow, I didn't actually know that. It tells you how much I look over there. Wine tends to not be great. It's -43 base price right now, while tea is at +13. I'm hoping 1.8 will partially rectify this, because right now wine is so just low and not great for production that it's arguably something I usually don't try to produce anymore. Unless you're like France or Italy, because you start with obsessions for that, and it's a lot easier to keep it productive. Ah, Korea, why couldn't you be making wine? I mean, tea. I mean, I'll take... Oh, you know what? If we were to massively, you know, increase the number of unemployment in Korea, we have multiculturalism. They might immigrate to the country. Ah. See, I'm coming up with wonderful ideas. We're going to forcefully move people from their homes. That's an awful idea. Don't do that. We're going to give them non-peasant jobs, which sounds arguably better than what I just said a moment ago. Alrighty, we're gonna just walk on in and beat up France here. Maybe seize this area? How productive is this area for them? Almost 4 million GDP. That's awesome. That's beautiful. It has oil. How many points do we have left? 60. And liberation is a primary. What if we add, because they might back down, a humiliate war reps just to make them back down. It would make this a lot easier on us then, because Occitania will be liberated regardless. And what if we go for broke and try to liberate Brittany? No. French Guiana would not be bad. Mostly because it has gold and a bit of rubber. Not a lot, but, you know, it's there. And last I checked, we had a rubber deficit. So, almost anything that gives rubber. Although, yeah, if they back down, I won't get Senegal. And we kind of want Senegal, so let's make sure they don't back down for that. I think that kind of... Yeah, puts us to where we have none left. What if we get more war reps? Can't. Who else would join us? Austria-Hungary would allegedly, but I don't think that's true. Oh, I forgot about these. The Polish HQ. Alright, let's send them over. We're gonna have to deficit spend on this, and that's gonna hurt a lot, because war and... The rye farm's never fully recovered from my horrific deficit spending. I swear I'm good at economics. We're just gonna pretend it's working and not look at it. I think that is our current method here. We're just gonna work on macroeconomics. And maybe finally solve the expensive glassware issue. I don't know if this will solve it or crash it. We'll find out. Oh, we'll solve it. It's only up to -12. -10. Yeah, that will just solve it. In that case... I think initially they'll go down because of the price changes. They might even go down 1 or 2 levels, but that's okay. That'll make construction cheaper for us. We've also researched. I tapped out of that quickly, but that was the technology to combat malaria. I'm surprised Baku still has not found its oil rigs. That is a shame because Baku has 240, and I think I keep mentioning it, and I keep mentioning it for good reason because it's a lot of oil. I guess I'll just build up all these other oil rigs then and hope for the best. Okay, if we're winning hard there, let's refocus our efforts over here where it's going to matter more. And maybe reposition the Navy to sabotage French logistics and trade. Mostly their trade. I see we haven't upgraded from frigates still. That's okay, though. I'm sure someone will figure it out eventually. Or they'll get lost in a tornado. Not a tornado, a typhoon. Thinking typhoons over here. Anyway, let's just see how this goes then. And, of course, the Dutch fall into a civil war that I would be most tempted by. Alrighty. Well, thanks to France, we have a way to invade France by... thanks to France. Thanks to Spain, we have a way to invade the French Republic by land. We won't be conducting any surprise regime changes, but we will be ripping half the country apart and taking some of their colonies. You know, to liberate them, of course. Under new management. Of course. I mean, if we just lower the oil cost, this should be fine again. Glass prices recovered anyway, it'll be okay. In the end, they only went down by 1 standard of living. That's not bad. That's workable. I'm getting mixed up. There's that +1 construction. It's one of the ports. It always messes me up with that. It's a port or something else, and I end up thinking I've got a full construction queue, when in reality I don't, and it really messes me up. Wait, these are profitable. Are you telling me we're just spending a bunch of subsidies now on wages that we don't need to be spending money on? I've been duped. It's probably fine. Ooh, gold mine. How many gold mines can we build, actually? Good question. Because there are some around here that we could build up. People will definitely work in them if given the chance. Might as well build them here, too, in Peru. Because that'll give them a bit of minting to work with, at least. Which might give them, you know, a little bit more money to play with. And then we'll, you know, take a portion of that money as their taxes. You know, someone's got to fund all the support. Let's see, where's their capital? Ah, here it is. Couldn't tell if this was still original France or a France after a civil war. France has so many civil wars in this, I couldn't figure it out. We're doing quite well in the war against France so far. We're already pushing in pretty well. Actually, where's the casualty list? Yeah, almost a 2-to-1 ratio in favor of us. That is very good to see. We'll upgrade a few of these to their higher levels. Paper's slightly below base price, which is fine. Luxuries are probably what we have to look at. Oh, you're not making hardwood. Hardwood is what's getting more expensive at this point, so if you wouldn't mind, higher hardwood production would be fantastic. How is America doing? Oh, Civil War. Not an American Civil War, mind you, but, you know, pretty close. Ah, oh, really? Minus 83? Well, we'll let New Africa fall, I guess. I mean, if the Civil War side wins, it'll probably end our truce with them, and we could just naval invade. I see no reason to suppress the Communist Party. They seem to be doing quite well. 55%, maybe too well. Do we change the tax law and take more money? Do we end censorship? I'm not sure. Could end censorship. People would still be partially censored. It would just be less censorship. So it's like, it is, but it isn't. Which probably makes no sense at all, but that's okay. Wow, is fish that cheap? Wow, like... I guess that makes sense. Maybe we don't build those. Maybe we build something else. Swedish Civil War. Neat. Okay, I think things are leveling out because we're kind of making money. Yeah, subsidies went down by about 60,000. Obviously, there's been some casualties in the war. That's something to account for. Neither of them want to be my subject. I can't imagine why. It's not like we bullied Sweden and took a chunk of their territory out from them or something. We totally did. And we'll do it again, if we have to. How's Korea doing? Oh, wait. Does Korea have migration controls? No, they don't. They're just not leaving. Alright, fair enough. I can't really force regime change on you because we don't have enough cohesion. Cohesion's pretty much gone because of Greece, of all things. Oh, I could just make a diplomatic demand for their regime change, which they're very unlikely to agree to, but it's technically not impossible. Although, if we just say it's very likely that they won't agree, we're probably pretty close to the truth. Alright, in that case, we'll finance some logging camps in Korea, just to minimize the unemployment instability. The All-Russian Fascist Party, jeez. Is that really what it's called? All-Russian Yep, that is what the game is calling it. In the game. In case anyone was curious for whatever reason. See, grain prices have risen. That's fantastic. It sounds like it's a good time to build even more rye farms in the areas that still have lots of peasants. Because I guess I'm very anti-peasant in this game, and for good reason. I've mentioned it before, but peasants demand less goods than workers and dependents. So making peasants working non-peasant jobs is good. It's also a reason why this bug with the unused arable land is not great, because if they become peasants and decide to stay peasants, wow, they're at 15 standard of living at a base level as peasants? While being discriminated? That's just impressive. Anyway, it means they're demanding less goods, and that's not a good thing for the economy. We want them to buy more goods, not less. You know? Otherwise, how can we sell them cheap items that we happen to find on the side of the road somewhere? Alright, speaking of items, I notice our food industry could use a nice boost. Until there's too much sugar, I guess. And that was another mass migration. Soviet socialists are welcome here. I'd hope so, considering we are the socialists that you are speaking of. I would sincerely hope. Ooh, Prussia's a minor power? Interesting. Interesting. Can't wait for macroeconomics. In fact, macroeconomics necessitates the need to annex Wallachia. I just remembered the Wallachian Oil Company. We're probably not going to get it for this run. Because it's going to cost infamy to get it, and then we have to incorporate it, which is going to take 5 years. And only then could we establish the company. So yeah, companies. They're changing on companies work in 1.8, it looks like. That'll be interesting to experience and figure out whether it's good or bad. I see the French have conducted mass conscription. I can tell because the numbers have been ever shifting, and I'm worried that Spain is going to leave if this continues. Actually, were they targeted by a war goal? Please say yes. Oh, good, they were. Phew, thank goodness. That means they won't leave. Yeah, these casualties are not looking so good for us right now. Oh, but we did take another state, so maybe we're doing okay. Maybe it's fine. God, I hope it's fine. I'm just gonna start ignoring it and hope it's okay. He says while he watches it closely. Very, very closely. Yeah, some of these armies are not doing good with their pushes. Why is that? Are you just having morale issues, or I guess you're just fighting too much? How about some very cheap liquor? I'm sure that'll go well. I see some of these newer armies that just kind of appeared out of nowhere. Man, I never gave the armies rail transportation. That doesn't feel right at all. If I give it now, it's gonna disorient them. Yeah, they'll lose half their organization. Automobiles and oil on the other chance. That's not a terrible idea. I mean, I guess it's fine. They got to their positions when they needed to. They're not being completely overwhelmed. They're not having to reposition that much for now. So, it's probably okay. They'll be fine. I'm possibly certain they'll be fine. I'm not that certain, but we're just going to hope that they are, and once again, kind of focus on anything else. Look, I didn't start this war, okay? Oh, no. No! That's probably the war done and dusted, then. Because now we have to somehow land in France with almost 300 divisions guarding the area. I mean, I guess we could try, right? We could at least try, and, you know, if it fails, then we know it won't work, and we can make peace. Or it will work, and we can rejoice in the collapse of France. We'll see how this goes. Oh, that is an American Civil War. They're both minor powers, but one of them hates me, and I think we have a truce with them still, don't we? Yeah, so unfortunately I can't take advantage of the situation to get an American puppet state, which would be awesome. But, you know, one hates us, the other we can't do because we have a truce with, and... yeah, that's unfortunate. But sometimes that's kind of just how the dice end up rolling. Especially when you anger half the countries in the world, but, well, you know. I didn't say I was good at foreign relations, now did I? Although foreign relations consists of turning almost every neighbor around us into puppets, and then slowly converting their systems to be more like ours, or at least hitting the brick walls as we try to do so, then sure. That sounds about right. We had 536 divisions all guarding against us. I don't think we can win in that case, because they're just going to have so many more troops, in theory. See if they actually do. Not to mention all the depleted reserves. Oh, well, yeah, if we roll blunder, there's no way we're winning that fight. Blunder is pretty much as the word implies. It's quite the blunder. It's not going to end well. We may as well just assume it's not going to happen for that area. I mean, we'll try until the invasions fail. I assume they'll fail. And since we've got, oh, I was gonna say, since, let's see, French war reps and humiliate, can we land somewhere where that would count? I thought we had Occitania on here still. That's why I was getting ready to surrender, but we do not. Let's redo this then. Which one of you are moving? Have you land there. You can land here. We also need to liberate Tunis, just for good measure. Now, one of you repositioned so quickly you're not even here anymore. Fair enough, I suppose. I think the one downside to how big we are now and how much of the economy we control is that I have to keep pausing to basically micromanage the economy. That's like the major downside to going down this path. Whereas if you're interventionist or full-blown laissez-faire, you can just let the private pool handle most of it and then blame them when the economy doesn't go right. Not saying it's a good idea, but, you know, if it works. Old age pension. Can I say no? Ooh, radicalism. Yes, please. Why yes to radicalism? I don't know. I just want to see chaos, I guess. Let's see. That does not meet any of the requirements. I think humiliate and war ups requires me to control an incorporated state, if I remember correctly. And the only incorporated states for France would be their homeland, so I'm not sure if this war is winnable. Actually, whoa. What happened over here? Half of Madagascar exists now. I guess they had a civil war in the process? Or not a civil war, like an uprising? Okay, what if I give you war reps for... You're not going to agree to any of this, are you? War reps for war reps? Yeah, we might just have to kind of fold it here. Yeah, I think so. Just because we're not really getting anywhere. That'll at least refund most, like 75. Oh wait, did excuse me while I reload really quick to the autosave. I accidentally clicked capitulate when I thought I clicked white peace offer. So when I was here, I hit capitulate instead of proposed deal. Because set terminal white peace is here too. I misread where my mouse was and clicked downward. Oh, God. Well, that tells you how late it is here, that I'm definitely not focused. And I want to say that's okay, but it probably isn't. Oh my goodness. France is, I guess we're going to be at war with France again. I mean, we could just let them take Algeria. Although that would ruin the point of the previous war we did. Or we could side with Algeria, go for just French Senegal. Because French East Africa has lost half its value. No, we can't go for it. We need Algeria to give us the war goal, and I think minus 82. They're pretty antagonistic. We might just let that burn itself out then. Oh nope, Austria joined. Okay, we can just let them fight each other. Why not? Oh, Austria's actually reconciliatory. How nice. And once again, the budget is not being used properly because once again I can't pay attention. Oh, I'm sure it's fine. It's probably not fine, but, you know, someone's got to be positive around here. Might as well be the Chancellor, or, I'm sorry, who is it? What was our Premier? May as well be the Premier. Who's positive? Good, someone's got to be. Secession and the Rhine? A French uprising. That's hilarious. Return the Rhineland. I love how they were about to go to war, and then the Swiss in Alsace just kind of uprose. Alsace-Lorraine just kind of started an uprising. Oh, speaking of uprisings, China is actually having a civil war. Because they're trying to enact tenant. Wow, China's trying to enact tenant farmers. That's rare. Half the time that usually just ends in... most of the time it usually just never happens. It just can't. It always meets too much resistance and just falls over. Usually half that resistance is in the form of civil war, like right now. No one's willing to offer us anything. Ooh, Yankee migration from New England. Another Dutch revolt. This time we can't quite... involve ourselves? I'm sorry, where is... Okay, never mind. It's just not showing it on the map for some reason, even though we can get involved, which is a little bizarre, but whatever. We haven't gotten quite all of our goals. I was hoping to get more countries in and make them socialist with worker cooperatives, but we got Finland, and we're trying to get Iran. I don't think Iran will make it, but at least we got Finland, you know? I think Finland alone is worth a lot. Especially because we, you know, gave it a piece of Sweden, which, again, is probably why Sweden doesn't like us right now. But Sweden started it. They tried to attack Finland. We just defended Finland. 750... Why does it have so much infrastructure? Consumption of automobiles... Does it just... Did we just build a lot of railways here and not realize how much we built? I guess. That's my assumption, at least. We can really build this place up then. Might as well. Food will be so cheap. Oh, right! 1.8 is adding food security as a problem, too, now. So, if you really want to starve a country out and it's importing lots of food, I guess now you really can, to arguably horrific degrees. I don't know how that's going to go. We'll find out. The sale of Alaska. I'm never finding a buyer for that. Because I don't... Oh, wow. Nice USA. Oh, right. The Civil War side must have won. Yeah. And I guess their relationship with England is a lot better. This land is worthless. What do you mean this land is worthless? It has gold! Soviet Alaska may hide riches yet. Yeah, as if the new US wasn't upset enough already. Now it's belligerent. Because we wouldn't sell them Alaska. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to get our gold. They're trying to buy it so they can have all the gold for themselves. Well, I won't let them. It's gonna be our gold, and we're gonna seize it first. I know we're not building everything. I just want to see if this didn't change too much. Okay, I was curious. This is 500,000 peasants that need a job. They need some kind of employment. Which I guess means paper... More groceries, more textiles, because I think we just can't get enough of textile mills at this point. And apparently we're going to need more cotton, which is great, because Rostov needed an excuse to build more. And then I needed an excuse to grab more silk. Even though it won't be efficient, we really should annex Korea, so we can make that efficient. Actually, oh no, you're a Dominion, darn. Oh well. But our infamy's been so high that our subjects once again just really do not like us. Which is unfortunate, but, well, when you upset people this much, I guess there's not much you can do. It's what excessive war does. Kokon really should get annexed too. I guess we could war to reduce it over time and annex them and whatnot, but that's going to be so much war back to back. 28.6 to make them a protectorate? We could do that. 25 to make Prussia a protectorate. That would not be bad. They're a lot weaker now because they lost the Westphalian region, but I mean, it wouldn't be bad, would it? I mean, they're small and unstable. Arguably, the Ottoman Empire would be a better target. They have a lot more people. Also, they have access to silk, cotton, and opium, which we could utilize. Plus oil and whatnot. Who would come to the defense of the Ottoman Empire? That's the real question. Britain and Morocco would betray us. Britain, because they're allies. That would be somewhat problematic, but not too problematic. What about Prussia? Yeah, aside from Brazil, practically no one. Are you in debt right now, by any chance? No. Are you about to have a civil war? Probably not. Let's go for it. We're gonna march on into the Prussian territories. I'm sure this won't end well. I'm sure this will end well and won't have any ramifications in the far future. Say, in 30 to 40 years from now. What about regime change? We can't do that to them. Is that because we're already making them a protectorate, maybe? Brazil has joined against us. Unacceptable. Also ignorable. Unless we're targeting anything specific. The Bolivian Amazon. I will have to respond to that then. We could conquer a Brazilian state to get... Ooh, we could get all that coffee that's here. Not a bad idea. I'm starting to think that maybe we might take this as an opportunity to go and get state from Brazil. What is this? The Mato Grosso? It's going to look awful on the map, but, you know, Brazil could have just stayed out of it. All Brazil had to do was just stay out of it, and this would not be happening to them. At all. I'm Mexican attitude improved. It's always funny when it's like, I'm gonna take this state from a country, I add it, and then another country improves in their relationship with me because they just detest that other country so much that watching someone beat the heck out of that country just pleases them. Nihilist, that's acceptable. From the intelligentsia as well. Now, Prussia might just back down here. We'll see if they do. If they don't, great. If they do, great. We win either way. And our peasant numbers have dropped by about 1 million, so we're doing something right. Mostly because we're industrializing agriculture, but the unusable arable land keeps going up anyway. Which, as mentioned, is a bit of a problem. It's not a big or major problem. It's just like one of those little annoyances. It's kind of there. We can't do much about it, but I have to keep looking at it, and then it annoys me more. I wish I could turn the wheat farms into more tea plantations, but since the workers own the building, I can't just dismantle them. Unfortunately. Otherwise, I would. What about sugar? Sugar... Ah, there's a Tunisian aristocratic revolt. I didn't even notice. And Spain, who was fighting on our side not long ago, has now joined against us. How sad. We will send an army down there at once to deal with this unfortunate issue. And then have the Navy blow up anything that's not flying a Soviet flag. You know, unrestricted warfare. Something else I'm sure that will not have ramifications in the far future. Or quite near. Why does... Oh, yes, no, I know why Britain owns this. No, they don't. It's because Circassia existed down there, and they must have given Britain construction rights. Oh, yeah, if I remember correctly from earlier on in our episodes, I think Circassia became a subject of Britain, and that's how it happened. To my limited memory. That's how I believe it happened. Alrighty, so we're fighting Prussia and Brazil. I'm sure this will be fine. I'm more concerned about Spain trying to muscle in on our subject. Not that Spain is like a big power I need to fear or anything. It's just... If it was just Spain, no issues. But since we're also fighting Prussia and Brazil elsewhere, and that stretches the army out to different locations, it's a slight concern. Nihilist agitator. Oh! He's a historical character. Cool. Right. Armies are really slow because I keep forgetting to give them railway rights. Well, it's a problem I really should fix at some point. So actually put you on the defensive until we've recovered. Actually, is this all one state? They could take it anyway. I'll have to just fix that in a minute. Okay, that's stabilized. So it's 50 divisions. Because I just realized it's a single state that's split into 2 fronts. All they have to do is win one of the fronts to actually take the whole state. So we're just going to use naval invasions instead. And there we go. Now we control it. And we now have macroeconomics, which is another technology that improves Mappy. market access price impact, which does mean you can get market access price impact up to, in the late game, you can get it to 95% normally, but if there's a special river like the Dnieper River, it's another +5, which basically gives it full market access price impact, which means it's only impacted by the national price, and the local price will always match the national price. As an example, -12, -12, -0, -0, +8, +8 with silk, even though there's no silk made here. So it has its advantages for various producing facilities. We were going to get oil. We were going to get oil. We were going to get the oil company. We failed to get the oil company. Soviet oil, 494. Why not? I said we'd get it. Let's just grab it. I guess at this point we could get antibiotics just to bolster the healthcare system for fun. We do kind of need to grab steam turbine, don't we, to make electricity. We can make electricity already, and to be honest, that's probably the next infrastructure project for us to do now, and this is going to be a very bad idea, but I'm going to do it anyway, is to just put a bunch of level 5 power plants down. Now, this is not a good idea because a lot of these areas probably don't need that much power. It's probably going to run on a deficit system for quite a while that we're just going to have to use subsidies for. But a lot of these areas out here, I will only put one because I'm not that insane. I'm just half insane. But even I kind of recognize these areas won't have a lot of demand. And we'll see how that goes. It will take only 2 years to finish all of that. Honestly, that is faster than I expected. Still 2 years, though. It's the 2-year economic plan for financial benefit. We will see how it goes. It's a good thing we produce excessive amounts of engines. Well, we did. Apparently, that price has really been going up since I last looked at it. Rubber is, once again, expensive because, keep in mind, we're now fighting Brazil. We can't import rubber from them. Nigerian aristocratic revolts. Wait, who are you revolting against? Oh, British Niger, which has formed a council republic. That's just funny. How is our invasion of Prussia going? Very good. Well, we just took the capital, so that kind of answers the question. So now it's just a matter of Brazil, which is also going well. We have occupied the territory in question. They've technically... Oh, we need to occupy Para. They haven't taken the Bolivian Amazons because they actually have to push into Bolivia due to the impassable terrain. So that's all good. We'll win just fine. We're actually making quite the surplus despite the ongoing war. Ah, right, because government dividends took a significant jump upward because profitability increased, and standard of living is starting to grow because, again, profitability increased, especially for the areas where their imports that weren't native to the area became easier to obtain. Some areas are going to see a fall because they're not as competitive in the area, but it's looking like overall, in some sectors at least, it was a net gain, which is good because standard of living goes up, people buy more things. GDP goes up. We're over 7 GDP per capita now, which is fantastic. It's very good news. There's some private construction that still happens, but it uses a fraction of the pool because the reinvestment is not... Actually, almost 200k reinvestment. Honestly, that is not bad for a worker cooperative system where almost all the dividends are just kept. Ah, because tea prices are really starting to rise now. Speaking of which, let's just nationalize that real quick so it goes back to the workers. Affluent laborers, even if you take off the bonuses, they'd still be at affluent at, well, 30. Dang. So it's always good to see something like affluent laborers. It's just very nice to see. There we go. Brazil has been pushed out of the Amazon. Partially, at least. We're just going to max out the rubber plantations that they own. Obviously, switch them over to a much better system. And I think we were still helping people migrate to the Amazon, right? No, we were operating on the District of Columbia. Well, due to a need to rapidly get those rubber plantations going, as well as the new coffee plantation that we can get in one of the states, the other state doesn't have coffee plantations, we're going to try to get a lot of people to come over here. I also do need to, because this should change it to a lot of the stuff we use, right? Yes. Yes. That'll be good enough then. Actually, these can continue to use the logging railway cars. And these, because there's like no one working here. It would be a lot better if they just used less people. We can also now form the Confederation of the Rhine, which would really just be Prussia, honestly. So at that point, it's the same thing regardless. And they're about to have a civil war, so we'll probably just handle that first. Which is all well and good. But yep, Prussia is now part of our economy. They also have atheism, which is neat. I don't know how their population is going to fully react to this. They might mass immigrate. Looks like they already are. Which I guess is fine. You know, it's just more pops for us anyway. Oh, yes, I would love to get this coffee plantation going. That'll be fantastic. But we have other issues to attend to first. Ah, did France make Tunis their subject? They did. Interesting. I mean, well, they'll still give up eventually. Their war support is falling, and there's nothing to keep them in the war. Still worth noticing, though. How would dropping taxes be now? Minus 1.14 million. God, if only subsidies didn't exist. Oh, I really should just rip those subsidies out. Is that Britain threatening us? Tripolitania. Why does everyone want to seize, like, Tunis and Tripolitania from us? Like, why specifically these states? What is going on? I even specifically tried to avoid war with you, Britain. Goodness. I see the aristocratic world's gonna win. I'd love to liberate the Raj. Can we just transfer the Raj at this point? I know that's like 62.7 infamy. Are you kidding me? Wait, we could have actually gotten the Raj without going pariah if I hadn't just aggressed against Prussia and Brazil. Oh, that's unfortunate. That is... What? What happened down here, Britain? What hurt you? What hurt you so badly? Seizing British Nigeria and British Congo would be good enough. That would, seize quite a bit of territory from them that we could utilize. It's already heavily utilized, mind you, but... us having it would be the British not having the rubber. So if I can't seize the Raj without going pariah... I mean, we could just go pariah, but then all of our subjects will try to just revolt against us non-stop. We'll seize British Niger, and I think that might be it, because I think British Senegal is basically a shadow of its former self, wherever it is. There it is. And East Africa is also a shadow. I mean, if I can't seize the Congo, I might as well seize East Africa, right? 6.7, we're at 93.8. Oof. Okay, we'll just seize those two then, and I'm not going to add any other war goals, because the last time I added something that required me to get deeply... Oh, that's why they started a war against us, because we have a revolt to contain. Speaking of which, this is the British we're talking about. We should at least try to defend our coastline a bit. This is why we built the Third Navy. We're also still at war with Spain, so it could be that Britain is starting this war because they're being opportunistic. We're involved in 2 different wars now, and it looks like we might be stuck in them for a while. So, you know, now is the perfect time for them to strike and try to come in and seize everything. And maybe fail. The Civil War shouldn't last long. I'm not worried about that. Okay, what's Prussia at? Or they're just adding a bunch of liberate war goals. Alright, there we go. Our war with Spain is over. Which is good. The war in Prussia, really the revolt in Prussia should go down just fine. How likely is it you'll move your home army out? No. Let's not risk it. The last time we tried to take something that required the capital, we couldn't get it. This is just going to require us to land in the British Nigeria and British East Africa, which is arguably a lot easier. Speaking of which, I'm just going to do this now before I forget. We're going to give them the transportation for the movement speed, but then we just unlocked machine guns, which does take munitions and small arms output to give more offense and defense to the army, which will make this war less painful for us. It is going to kind of destroy army organization, you know, just on the eve of a war of all things. But that'll be fine. Yeah, it's given Trench Rat. Trench Rat also gives defense like the other thing, but it's permanent, which is better. We'll bring the army down there. Now, as expected, they are going to try to naval invade us. This is not surprising in the slightest. It's why our best navy is on defense. Yep, 59. Good luck. They still have frigates themselves. So I'm not the only one who was being a dunce with his frigates. The enemy is too. Fantastic. I'm glad to see I'm not alone in this. Thank you, AI, for making the same dumb decisions that I do. And I know they're targeting Tripolitania, but they also targeted like 4 states in Russia to liberate, so they have to land in Russia in order to actually win this war. Oh, they did leave the home islands. No, no, no. They've got 75 troops in Ireland. Never mind. Ooh, wow. Wait. Are we... Oh, no. I'm sorry. That's the British fleet that's losing. Never mind. Goodness. I thought the British fleet was beating us over there, and I was about to start panicking. I thought that was it. We're doomed. That the British had actually figured out a way to beat us. Have I not... I have neglected livestock ranches. Oh my goodness. Meat is at plus 34% base price. Because I basically neglected livestock ranches the whole game. What have I done? Tripolitania wants greater degree of autonomy while being invaded by the British. Look, I don't think now's a great time to be asking for more autonomy. Maybe ask in the future. Not that, well, granted, they'll get the same response as before, but, you know. It's a good way to, ward them off. So we'll switch the power plants over to coal. We're gonna switch, whatever urban centers can take electric streetlights. It's only gonna switch over the ones that actually have access to electricity. Like the one in Tula, it is going to kind of nuke the service costs here, because suddenly there's a lot more services to go around. But ideally, though it's not guaranteed, that will mean a standard of living increase. It's happening for at least one group of laborers, so it's not a complete wash. And this group's already demanding 109. Has Kiev switched over already? It has. Fantastic. Excellent. What is like a really big building that's not the farm? I guess the steel mill will do, because they have really rich people there. Oof. Let's let another week tick by, make sure everything is actually solidified there. Okay, so some of them aren't quite shifting. Some of them are. This is what I mean, how it... Sometimes it's going to have a big impact for people, sometimes it doesn't really move the needle at all. It's very circumstantial. If we could drop taxes, it would definitely have a bigger impact. But we need electricity, because services was entering the top 3. Yeah, for a lot of them, it's the highest expenditure. For the lower strata. For the upper strata, no, sorry, middle strata, it's kind of the most expensive on average as well. For some of them, it isn't. But that's kind of because it's now really cheap there. For others, it is the most expensive. And I don't think they have access to electricity there yet. Ooh, this does now. Especially the areas with the oil regions. Those are definitely having problems. We'll also be able to upgrade the logging camps, which overall will make them more profitable, but that's coming later. If I reposition 2 armies over here, we can actually take that. God, they have 400 there now. I was gonna say, if I switch those, I can actually go ahead and take another army for another naval invasion, because those should be able to guard it quite fine. And then we'll just keep rolling. We have hit 26 standard of living on average. That is with a +2 from our technologies and laws. I said technologies, more like a loyalty to the party is mandatory. More like our healthcare law and then our food standardization. I really do enjoy this one for the extra pop growth because of the lowered mortality rate. Because when your pops start getting really, really rich on average, if we go here at 25, they're growing at a rate of 0.94. I moused over that way too quickly. I'm sorry. If we go to someone who's affluent, that drops to 0.13. It craters down to that minimum. And it doesn't really flow anywhere after that. It kind of sits around there. So any modifiers kind of shift it positively or negatively, depending on what we're talking about here. I don't need to finance the Communist Party. They're the only party. Ah, they... I wasn't paying attention. The British have sent the entire army over here. And we do have to take over a bit more of Nigeria, I think, for it to actually work. Oh, wait, what am I doing? I don't need to mouse over that. I can just go over here and click this. Now, the other area, the rift, will be fine, because I can't even reach it. Honestly, should have taken that first, so we could have concentrated in the other area. British Nigeria, we just have to take the capital state. And initially, it was going in our favor, but then obviously the British arrived. So we're just going to dig in with our machine guns for now. Just kind of make sure. Oh, Spanish mass migration to Rostov. Hang on. From Spain. Hang on. What does that look like with the infrastructure? Oh! Oh! Annual projected migration of almost 1 million. With that and another neighboring Afro-Caribbean mass migration from where? Britain. That makes sense. That checks out. I was wondering why there was so much. Can we break 20k with this? No, but we can get an annual projected migration of 1.01 million, which I will take. And that is all Spaniards from Spain. Even more would flock to Rostov if the infrastructure was higher. But obviously we haven't really been investing into that lately because we didn't need the extra infrastructure. It's quite high. What did I come here to do? Government administration. Alrighty. Are they still in that civil war? Oh! So, New Africa literally has no troops on either side. They've been stuck in a civil war forever, and now another civil war is happening. It's a Confederate uprising, which also has no troops, so they're still stuck. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But that's okay. Now that the rest of the army has arrived, it's kind of being helped. We can actually switch these guys over to invading. So we should get British Nigeria at this rate, and we'll win this war. It won't be too much, but the main idea here is that we're basically going to be seizing rubber plantations and a mixture of coffee and tea plantations. That will keep under our direct control. And the British are using it primarily for their workshops. This won't take all of it, but this will at least make their workshops, their tool workshops less productive, which will be good. Oh, I didn't realize we were invading all the way up here. Well, I'll take it. And designate that as the state target so they get to it sooner. Alright, I think it's time for another round of electric streetlight switching. We technically have the arcades too, but I feel like the electricity, well, it's what, a 1:5 ratio? This is a 3:10 ratio. Oh, I guess it's not too different then. Oh, no, it's right. That's right. The arcades add extra jobs, whereas switching to the electrical streetlights just changes them over. That's right. That's where my concerns lie. That's why we don't want to switch it over right away. Yep, some of them, like the ones in Kiev, will be big enough to where they actually... Just making sure that there's no shortages. Where they will actually... Oh, we never made a skyscraper? Hang on. I know we're going into bureaucratic deficit. It'll be fine. We'll make more bureaucracy in a minute. Filipinos! Nice. But yeah, some of the areas like Kiev will actually need more electricity because it uses up so much. We could arguably use oil as well, but I want to use coal in it just because coal is so cheap. And that leaves oil to be used in other things like automobiles. And glass. And you might have noticed we're researching the automatic bottle blowers because with how cheap oil is, we can use it in here and the prediction system's kind of off. But that will improve productivity and free up workers, because we need more workers, honestly. We need more workers, and the higher automation, ideally, under good circumstances, will actually make it more profitable for the workers there. Okay, a few things happened there. The main thing that caught my eye is France and Britain are now going to war. Fantastic. Let them beat each other up. We really should get telephones and radios at this point, or at least get no, we do need telephones and radios, because that would allow us to switch over to siege artillery and NCOs. Not that we're going to be able to use the squad infantry much, because we're nearing the end of the game, but it would make it a lot harder for someone to beat us down. And that's good. Please do not move away from the front when we are still technically losing. This is not... Who put these generals in charge? It couldn't have been me. It was probably me. I probably put the generals in charge. That's probably why we're not winning war yet. Whoa, wait. 7.6 GDPC. That jumped a bit. Not complaining, but that jumped a bit. Automobiles and engines are both high, too. So we could arguably... are there any other engine facilities that are not at level 50 yet domestically? There are some, but their average population levels are not high. Rostov is getting a ton of people right now, though, so upgrading that one would be fine. And I think it gets the river bonus, doesn't it? Yes, it has the river bonus. All right, so we'll just build that up a lot. What is the productivity right now? 105. Wait, how rich are these folks? Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, and you call yourself proletariats. They're so rich. Oh my goodness, it's not even the final form. We could get assembly lines if we had enough electricity and the technology. Oh goodness, imagine if rubber was cheap. Imagine if engines were more expensive. Other parts of the economy would suffer, though, so that's not a good idea. So let's not do that. Oh, right, the areas are currently occupied by Britain. Forgot about that. Britain should give up soon, though. Give it about a month, and they'll give in. I'm kind of ignoring the other wars happening right now, because I want to resolve this, and then resolve our domestic spending. Not that our domestic spending will ever be resolved. Our subsidies have skyrocketed because of power plants. It's not hard to guess why. There's a lack of electrical demand, because I have not switched over all the streetlights still. Although now that I have... Does that drop subsidies at all? It's going to take a week for us to find out. Not really. Like, it kind of did, but it didn't. Well, that would make more money. So let's switch over whatever we can for the electric sawmill as well. And still, no, Uruguay's loyalish? Like, loyal enough to drop? Sweet, let's do it. Welcome, Uruguay. You're now giving us money. How much money? How much money is Uruguay giving us? 4K. Wow, Iran's giving 122 as a puppet? Goodness. They have quite the economy. Oh, wait, did they switch over? Yes! Iran's running cooperative ownership with proportional taxation. Their standard of living is almost 25, which means a bunch of demand spiked in Iran. It does also mean Iran's population growth is pretty much negligible at this point, or soon will be. Oh, but that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So we at least got Finland and Iran to switch over to full worker cooperative systems. And they have the highest standard of living in the world. Cuba is a part of us, though. Could we change you next? I mean, there are social democrats in charge of the Catholic Church. We get you to universal voting through that. Fight off any civil war that maybe triggers. Yes, that should radically alter its political fabric at its next election. That'll be good enough. There we go. These are now Soviets. Soviets with English and Scottish primary cultures, but I'm not complaining. Actually, can we annex these so I can complain? They should be puppets, but I don't know if we can just annex them. We probably have a truce, don't we? No. They are puppets, though. Puppets. Puppets. Oh yes, by the way, the exploiting the Amazon journal entry will always come back if you get new states in the Amazon that have not been fully exploited. Because these areas haven't been. Although now they're horrifically devastated thanks to Britain, but oh well. I also forgot to incorporate them after we took them from Brazil, but, well. Oh well. Now, if only I could stop playing the subsidies game so much. I mean, some of the power plants are rather profitable. Some of them are not, and that's unfortunate because the demand is just not high enough, but, you know, it's okay. We'll find a way to fix that at some point. Actually, what does transportation look like? On average, it's cheap. Let's just do it. Let's just switch you to... yeah, first off, you should just all switch over at this point. Anyway, oil rigs. Just use the tanker cars, and then we'll figure out what is the transportation shortage. Not that much. It's really just the areas that wouldn't be developed for transportation to a large degree anyway. It's probably you two right now. I know it's going to be like all these northern states. You don't have anything, do you? Actually, wait. You do. I know these areas will need a couple because they actually have oil, but they have basically nothing built up for it. And that'll be fine. They actually do need the infrastructure boost anyway. Arcangolance was another area that had basically none because why would it? Why would it have railroads? It has ports everywhere. So we're just going to build up a couple railways here and subsidize them. Actually, we can maybe mitigate this a little. There we go. More wonderful construction projects on top of endless construction projects. Unrealized taxes are now very low as well. Very nice. Once the devastation here ends in like a year or however long it takes, it looks like it might be a year. It's a daily change. It's going to be over a year at least. It should improve and be a lot better now. I'm just going to nationalize that really quick. I can't wait for 1.8 when you can just mass nationalize things. At one button to mass nationalize everything that foreigners own, for example. Gonna make it a lot easier, because I bet there's still some things foreigners own that I haven't really nationalized, and I probably never will at this rate. Subsidies are still very high, but our profits have gone up. I presume that's just various things are working better, and we're not paying for other things, but I don't know. Peasant numbers have risen. So has unemployment, but I presume that's all because the oil rigs suddenly, whoops, need less workers. Some of them are having quite the productivity issues, though. Ah! This didn't update when I did it. It didn't update initially. We have quite the transportation problem. That's fine. It's just finding the issue is a bit of a pain in the neck because I can't just blanket it to show it. I mean, I can do it like this, but then I have to memorize which ones it is. This isn't hard to do. Until I click on the wrong button. I have to do a couple of those in each area. Is there anywhere else that's dying? Over here. Which makes sense, there's no railroad. That's an indigenous American heritage? Okay, I have not seen that culture group's name before, so that threw me a little off guard. I didn't really know what I was reading at first, and I was a little hesitant to keep reading, and then I realized what it was. Alright, Para has been developed a bit, so that should help the migration. It's definitely helping reduce our rubber costs, that's for sure. Now that we have access to more rubber in multiple areas. These aren't using it automatic irrigation, though. I don't know if they even have the technology. We shall make Soviets of them yet. Yeah, in a way, I guess we will, won't we? Yep. The unemployment is going to be a small issue, but in the long run, it's probably better that we have a small section of unemployed who can then be employed somewhere. Presuming we have the necessary demand for it. Which we should. Oh, alright. I guess since we have the tobacco plantations, they may as well use the irrigation. But not the banana plantations. I have a vendetta against them. And how cheap fruit is. We can now make telephones, which means we can now have a bunch of people employed into electrical industry that will probably crash the transportation market. You know what? I'm okay with this. More importantly, though, in 14 months, we'll have radios. Those are very useful. We can actually use the telephones to switch our bureaucracy over too, though, and that might be a good idea because it actually adds jobs overall. It makes clerks become bureaucrats. And to give you an idea of why that's good, clerks are paid an average annual wage of 7.2 right now. They're paid 10.74 if they're not being discriminated. Bureaucrats are being paid 28.65 if they're not discriminated, which creates quite the interesting gap between the two of them when it comes to standard of living. And some people are still discriminated because of religion, but, you know, it happens. Because, you know, we banned religion, and we never really walked back that ban. I think the reason why our standard of living is starting to drop is because the number of unemployed and the number of peasants is both grown. And I think our welfare state system is, yeah, not that high, because I was being a little cautious around welfare, but at this rate, we may as well increase it a bit. It's more controlled than I expected it to be. Sweden is joined to the power block for Britain. Cute. It won't save them. Meanwhile, ours has no cohesion. It's just fractured because I'm just going to blame Greece for this. Yep, Greece. Oh, and Prussia. Of course it's Prussia. I mean, it makes sense. We did kind of invade Prussia and rip away their right of autonomy for the most part. When you think of it like that, it's a little unsurprising that they're so upset with us. You know? And so many of them are so defiant. I just don't get it. Don't they see the wonderful thing we've brought them? I guess not. Oh, tea's at plus 27%. Speaking of tea. Abroad, please. Thank you. I know we've got to build up our nation a little more, but didn't want to forget about our newest Soviets. Just because they have the potential to make some of that production. Oh, that's what happened. Britain lost that territory due to a revolt. Aren't you the... Oh, I see. It was an uprising. They have found a place for a skyscraper in the capital, and let's go ahead and build that. I really should have done this a long time ago, but I genuinely forgot about it. Speaking of Ingria, our capital, we haven't really built it up that much, have we? We kind of just let it do its own thing and forgot about it for such a long time. I suppose that's not a bad thing, but, you know, it kind of makes me realize how little we paid attention to it. I feel like that's the first time in a while we really put some attention onto it. You know? Rostov now has a fully functioning motor industry, which will bring the prices down, so the other motor industries that were enjoying a ton of wealth are going to have less wealth now, which is sad for them, but hey, it's okay. Automobiles are more affordable now, and more peasants have been given very profitable jobs. We finally urbanized enough. I'm glad we were able to do that. I didn't think we'd pull it off. You know? We'll just quietly subsidize the electric industry here, so it, one, recovers, but also, two, so it's able to, actually recruit fine, especially when we switch over to radio production. That's going to take so much electricity. Qing backs down to France. Okay, France. I see we're just biting at pieces of Qing now. Well, this is the revolt that succeeded. It didn't fracture China. I'm impressed. Good one, you, China. I really have ignored you after bullying you for your territory. Ooh. Wrong screen. We can switch more people over to make them officers who will be slightly better paid. Not slightly, they're actually decently paid more than soldiers. If we go over here, it's like 20 secure. It's the same discrepancy between clerks and bureaucrats, honestly. Kind of surprising how similar it is now that I think about it. We can expect radio demand to rise, and what that's very likely going to do is it's probably going to... Yeah. Yeah. Yep, there goes transportation demand, but that's probably a good thing. It's not, I mean, it's not good for the people working in the railways, obviously. There's always going to be some industry under worker cooperatives that just suffers so the rest can prosper so much. And sometimes we just have to accept that, you know, business A will suffer for business B's sake. And you know what? That's okay. We'll deal with it. Okay, tell me that's just a small civil war I can go deal with. It is. I'm going to ignore all the demands for independence that I'm seeing at the top of the screen. Yeah, no, don't worry. It's fine. They won't actually try. I mean, one of them will probably try, and they'll find out the hard way why they don't try. Ooh, an exile. Portugal, Civil War. Can't do anything about it. That's okay. Oof, we unlocked radios before the expanding application of it even unlocked. Pneumatic tools. I'm actually going to grab that really quick for the resource discovery chance. Really need to grab that so Baku's oil is discovered. Because we still have not found it. I'm really surprised. So how much electricity? With 4K almost. God. I mean, we don't need radios right away, right? Kind of do, though. What other area has a... Oh, Kursk does. Or Kharkiv does. I'm gonna say, what other area has, like, a ton of unemployed people? That's explosives. That's not what the unemployed need. Do not give the unemployed explosive devices. That will not end well, I promise you. I promise you it will not end well. Because I don't think it will. I don't think it can. Oh, these people are paid a great 18.2. That's a great wage already at the start. And that's pulling them out of peasant jobs, which is fantastic for the economy. How is the economy of Kiev at this point? 8% of our total GDP? Whoa. Well, it's doing great. Hopefully it stays great. Probably won't. We'll probably crash it at some point. How? I don't know. Cuba's crashing its own economy right now, though. It's... One island is revolting against the other island, so we have to send the Navy over to help put it down. Which is going to be a little more expensive, but at least our interest rates are down. You know, so we can fund all the power plants that we can't afford. Oh, no. That would be giving better paying jobs, but I don't think the electricity system could handle it. What are you saying, transportation? This doesn't even affect transportation. Why would it affect transportation? I mean, I get it that people won't be working there temporarily, but that's not how it works. Arguably, we could be making elastics out of rubber, too. But we just don't have enough rubber to do that. Also, I'm not certain of the long profitability sustainment for that, but, you know, it's fine. We'll be okay. Probably. I'm actually not sure. Oh, right, there's no electricity right there. Oh, they'll be fine. They don't need electricity yet. We can bring it to them at a later point in time. I would love to seize parts of the British Raj or the Sikh Empire. Just to make more tea and or coffee. Ideally, seize it directly. Could 8.5 for a protectorate, 7.1 to take the capital. And if Afghanistan joins, we could just invade through Afghanistan. I don't know why that sounds like a terrible idea to me. I mean, seizing Punjab directly, it would look a little weird on the map, but the idea here is that we could just seize it and just mass produce tea to, you know, feed the growing tea problem we have. Are we sure we're not secretly the British in disguise or something? Are we sure we're not the British? The problem is that the area would basically be never incorporated. It would take 20 years. It just wouldn't happen. So its market access price impact would be at 90%. Ah, to hell with it. The only issue here, though, is that if Afghanistan like capitulates during the war, I really have no way to reach the Empire then. And the Afghanistan... Yeah, Afghanistan would capitulate before we reached it. Okay, maybe we'll scrap that idea for the moment. Irish mass migration. See, the Irish... The Irish know where prosperity is. At least I'm going to assume so, because it makes it sound like we're prosperous. And then I'm just going to quietly hope that we are and not check the balance sheet. Whoa! Groceries jumped to minus 12? I remember when they were like minus 24. I'll take that as a good sign. Oh, the rural folk are no longer loyal. Are they dropping still, or is it fine? It's fine. Actually, them no longer being loyal is a good thing. It means the income tax that was being paid from their loyalty bonuses stopped. It's not really going to change that much. How much did it change, actually? Yeah, about 30k drop, which is not as much. If we weren't paying for all these subsidies, I could actually lower taxes. Unfortunately, I'm just not good at math, I guess. I did say building level 5 electrical power plants in a ton of areas would be a dumb idea. And it turns out it is indeed a dumb idea. So I didn't lie about any of this. I just, you know, said it was a dumb idea and then went ahead with the dumb idea anyway. And then proceeded to do more dumb ideas by making more unemployment and reactivating the input shortages that we were suffering not that long ago. Because now all the mines need transportation. To be fair, the mines no longer employing people will... Oh my goodness, that needs a lot. Having it lowered is going to be very helpful for the economy, and that is all I'm going to say while we try to rectify the issues that I have now created. This is how economics really goes. We just hope our version is going to work, and when it doesn't work, we're going to just say it's actually working. This is entirely intended while we're quietly trying to fix it in the background. It's a good thing transportation expense when it comes to being a consumer good is mattering less because of telephones, though. So, you know, we kind of thought this out. We just didn't really look at the numbers when we actually did it. And I'm sure that's going to be fine. Okay, where else is it suffering horrifically? I'm just going to build like 4 each, just hoping that that will be enough. It'll only take us a couple months to get it done, so we'll suffer a little bit on the side and, you know, assure ourselves it'll be fine as people become peasants and demand less goods. It'll drop tea prices temporarily because they won't want tea anymore. Well, it's not that they don't want it, they just can't afford it. Which sounds sad to me personally, but, you know, oh well. Ooh, speaking of affording things, let me just nationalize that. Should nationalize the other things too, I just haven't gotten around to the idea of doing that. There we go. I mean, these areas are slowly gaining people now. They've kind of recovered, so that's good. Given enough time, they'll start to work better, be more employed. Rubber prices have really come down at least. Our debt's gone down quite a bit too, so we're doing okay on that front. Finland is actually in the top 10 for economics with a GDPC of 8. Wait, you're not the highest than GDPC. Iran has a GDPC of a 9? Good God. I don't think I've ever seen Iran specifically with that much. It's very impressive. I know it's largely because we've been investing in them. We helped change certain laws, and we helped get them various very good technologies, and their opium plantations are just fueling their economy alongside with their tea plantations. Oh, right, if we own the building, they don't get it. Ooh, interesting. Interesting, okay. Wonder if that's going to get changed in the future, where if you're cooperative ownership and your vassals are cooperative ownership, if all the buildings you own will just get transferred or not. It's just kind of something I'm wondering aloud there. Okay, so we were not first to build the skyscraper is what I'm reading from that event, but that is okay because we were very behind on building the skyscraper to begin with. So it would be actually very surprising if we were the first to build it. There's how many inside Silesia? Whoa. You know what? Time to get more coal. And you know what? It's time to finally modernize the agriculture system here, because I totally forgot about it. Misplaced moderation. Anarchist society. Sure, why not? Go nuts. Why not give us a little anarchy? Yep, so peasant and unemployed population totals over 11 million now, which is technically not a good thing, but population growth is also slowing, so I think it'll be fine. Telephone prices are actually coming down, so maybe we start switching over to telephone switchboards? Not that we really, like, need it. I probably need to just think about radios instead, honestly. Conveyors are almost done, as if I can afford more unemployment right now. Technically, there are antibiotics we could grab, but I think let's grab defense in depth and NCO training, just to modernize the military. You know, when people are getting ready to fight trench warfare, I forgot about that war, but we won. We'll be ready to just fight it through squad-based means. Sardinia Piedmont sides with France against Algeria. Wait, are they doing this a second time? They are. Oh, have fun with that. Hope they have fun with it at least, because that's going to be a rough time. Well, the wages came down a little. I presume it's because profitability went down because of our intervention. Let's see. If we assume it needs about 4,000 electricity, it's going to need at least 30 more power plants both ways. We'll see if that math checks out, but that'll put more people into jobs, which is good. What's wrong with the logging camp? It's paying people so much money that I can't afford things. There we go. Make more hardwood, and that'll solve the problem. Oh, I guess it actually will solve the problem. For now. Economic micromanagement. What am I doing? At this point, I'm trying to get the number as high as I can, but we might hit the ceiling at some point here. Well, less of the ceiling, more so economic stagnation, because I still can't lower taxes. I might have to just drop the taxes anyway at some point and hope for the best. Actually, I could drop the rye farm subsidies. I think at this point we're just subsidizing wages, because they're actually, like, profitable. Yeah, you know what? It's a risk, but let's just drop the subsidization of agriculture. That bumps us up to 811. So then let's just drop taxes as well, ride out the deficit, and see what happens. Because what that should do then is that, even though we stop subsidizing the rye farms, let's see, they do actually go negative. They actually go negative? How much of the money are we giving you? Wait. You're at 8.4. What happens when we subsidize you? Whoa, really? Almost about a 20% wage increase? Goodness. Okay, you've been getting a bit too much money, misters and misses. It's time for someone else to get a bit of money. Ideally, people who will then go up in standard of living and demand more goods. It's not... It's same song and dance here. It's not going to affect all groups equally. You know, every group's a little different. Some of them are going to benefit from this. Some of them are not going to see a change at all. The best, not solution, but example might be to just look at some of our government workers. But that's really just, them getting some of their wages back, so that's not as impactful as the dividend tax might be. Those working in the oil rigs are definitely going to be happy, though. I'm pretty sure they're already they're already happy to begin with. Some of them are probably going up. Some of them might have already gone up. Some of them are about to, that's for sure. Alright. Just kind of seeing if it's going to go up further. Construction pool is almost out again. Well, that's not surprising. Oh, Soviet Alaska. Yeah, that makes sense. I think these areas are just lacking people, right? Like, there's just no one migrating here. Yeah, there's not much I can do for those regions then if no one's migrating there. So we'll just kind of hope that it works. Ooh, who's this general? Social Democrat. We'll leave him. I'm not basing it based on his military performance. I'm just basing it off of his political allegiance. Probably shouldn't do that, but, you know, here we are. Doing exactly that. Alrighty. Let's see, where else can we build? Where else can we build? These areas, because we do need to, again, get them to that maximum economy of scale bonus. You know what? More chairs is not a bad idea, because I think the luxury chairs... We could actually switch some over to precision base. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say, because if I switch them all over, it could have such a shift that it could upset the market anyway, especially since the predictive system is a bit off. I'm hoping 1.8 will have the prediction system when you're switching this over be a lot more accurate. Because right now it says it would be more profitable, but I'm not so certain about that, honestly. And I've seen a lot of cases where it will tell me things are not going to be profitable because... I mean, a good example here is us switching to the arcade that says we'll make less transportation. Technically true, because there'll be less workers temporarily, but that's not really going to be the end result. Denmark is in a civil war, and they're antagonistic towards me. We do not care. We're still running a deficit, unfortunately, but our subsidies are technically down, kind of down, sort of down. Standard of living is slightly up. Lowering taxes technically worked. Not as effectively as I was hoping, but GDP is still growing. If we can get more of the unemployed and the peasants to start working again, it'll be fine. I think that was the biggest issue we're having right now. 5.5k. Alright, let's get radios going. -6, good enough. And then we've got the radio production. So this is going to go very negative initially, but once demand starts flowing in at the cost of other goods, it should easily fix itself without an issue. We'll switch the second one over, which should be fine. We're going to kind of build up some of these too. Probably the steel as well. I know steel prices were getting quite close to going above base price. We'll keep it below a little, not too low. It does need to be profitable after all. It does mean telephone expense will be a lot higher now, but those radios are going to make a ton of profit. Yeah, see, even after the price adjustments, the productivity of these areas is much higher now. And all that electricity is no longer weighing us down in terms of subsidies. In fact, that single-handedly dropped our subsidies for them by quite a bit. And is giving coal decent demand. Well, not a huge amount, but, you know, it's some extra demand that coal didn't have. And I believe switching those over changed some jobs, right? I wasn't paying attention. It added 25,000 engineers. Which is fine. Those guys are already paid very well to begin with. T is at plus 26% price now. That's a lot. Maybe we'll go invade somewhere else for more tea production. Although I'm kind of half waiting to get the coffee over here to work, and that is entirely dependent on migration, which is increasing, to be fair. Slowly, but it is increasing. I guess over here we get fabric, because fabric's gotten a bit expensive-ish. Not by a lot, but it is there. 26.6. I don't know how much higher we can get it, because we do have all the peasants here, and we have the unemployed. Although unemployment has dropped below 3 million, so we are doing something. It's just all these extra peasants on the unused arable land. I mean, this one's actually legit, but we have the one in Kuban that's got over 1 million people now. That's where they're all hiding. This is where they're all hiding. I'm sorry, is that 18? Really? God, now I kind of I would understand it if they didn't want to work. I mean, they're willing to work. I guess we need to build up Kuban's industrial base very rapidly then. Its agricultural base is kind of built up. It could use extra lead, extra coal. This cannot hire because of that. Honestly, why don't we build like 30 tools? Because I think tools are, yeah, they're getting... Yeah, just build a full set of tools. Max out the textile mill and max out the food industry. That won't be enough to employ them all, but it will help. Because if there's a million peasants there... Yeah. If there's a million peasants there, that's a lot of peasants that could be working. How many peasants is that, actually? Almost a ninth, about an eighth to ninth of our total peasantry, just located in Kuban. How many people are here? 7 million, over 7 million. It's actually quite populated relative to other areas. Rostov's up there too. Although Rostov's coal mine and cotton plantations employ a lot of people. Speaking of which, there are plantations which are not using rail transportation like that one, but... Okay, English mass migration. Okay, we're, I mean, obviously it's not 90 million people. It's relative to their actual population globally is a little more different than that. But that was what, Dagestan? It's right here. Really? The place where people are emigrating from. I mean, okay, sure. I guess, you know what, it has tea and it has oil. Down with Great Britain. And a boost to trade unionists in Great Britain. I actually didn't read that last event. I kind of clicked on it. I have no idea what it said. I hope that wasn't important. I'm going to assume it wasn't important. Because that makes me feel a tad better. Another civil war in Cuba. Well, it's just one island, so we'll be fine. I'm not going to say it's irrelevant. It's just negligible. Which might be similar to calling it irrelevant, I suppose. Lowering steel prices will help the motor industries and tool production. Wow, coal is at minus 6% of base price? I guess we did build more steel mills and tool workshops. So that's good. That's very good. Because we could really build up the coal industry. Really get more people employed. You know, all the people that were fired from the coal industry because we, you know, massively increased the amount of coal production we had. Iron is actually going up in expenditure too. And I just remembered this, and I really wish I had remembered it sooner. Before I built all those steel mills. We can get the electric arc process, which uses electricity to make more steel, while also using more iron. I don't know if it would be more profitable. Maybe it would be. Again, the predictive system is going to be a bit off. I've experienced that quite a bit. I'm hoping 1.8 makes it better, which will probably help the AI too if it's being told more accurately. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, if I switched this over, I'm a little curious. If I switched you over, how many telephones is that? See, it says like 190 telephones is how many it would use. And while that is technically true, if you're doing just the basic like 5, that's not including the 45% throughput that would also be adding into this. That's what I mean, how the prediction system isn't right. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't. Actually, wait, no, 190 telephones out of 45 with 5 each. That still wouldn't be accurate. Oh, well. You know what? Let's just switch the one in Kiev. And we'll just kind of see how it goes. Because I know there's lots of people here that can still get employed. And if we switch only one of them over, it's not as problematic. This will technically increase government good cost and government wages. But this means someone who's going at like standard living 24 or 20 now becomes standard living like 20, 26. Is that because you just grew? Yeah, so it's more like maybe standard living of 31 or something to that effect. Which means they'll be demanding more goods at a higher level. Except once they're past 30, they'll stop demanding grain, but, well, they don't want to eat grain. They want to eat groceries, and then we'll just turn the grain into groceries. Problem mostly solved. In fact, grocery prices are at -9. Are we exporting any of this? I'm curious. Not really. Not really, which is actually, in my opinion, a good thing. But it's more of a benign thing, really. So, you know, oh, we're not exporting it, okay. And that's kind of it, really. A lot of explosives here. Oh, yeah, the brine electrolysis system. That would help a couple of these failing power plants no longer fail. But depends on their location, of course, but I know a lot of small explosive factories were built near mines. That'll give us more explosives, too, and make those areas more profitable. This would need more electricity, actually. I'm trying to look for the ones that are small, that are kind of near those electrical plants that are just completely failing and just eating up money. Because then that will make us eat up less money. That one's actually profitable, so we can ignore it for now. Alrighty, that's good. Yeah, telephone prices didn't change all that much. 340. Oh, yeah, so it said it was going to use 190. They ended up using 326. So, yeah, that's what I mean about the predictive system for production methods being off. It's not giving us the actual number of what it will be, which makes it harder to know if it's going to be profitable or not. So if you've ever felt like in 1.7 that you don't really understand the economy and you've been switching things over and it's not making sense, it's not really your fault. There have been some issues in some areas where the predictive system is I don't want to say lying to you. It's more like it's getting incorrect information and then feeding that information to you. It's partially because right now it's reading it on the prediction of, oh, you're going to need more workers, they won't be here, it will technically make less goods, but it's also not correctly accounting for the current throughput of the building. And so you're kind of getting numbers that aren't entirely accurate. But that's okay. We've been working with it. We're getting through it. We finally have it at a point where some of our puppets are no longer desiring to be completely, anti-Soviet. Oh, even Afghanistan's joining the fun. How nice. It's probably because our infamy has fallen below 50 finally. I wasn't watching it too much, but it is below 50, which is great news. Russia still hates us, though. I don't blame them, but, they still hate us. Which is fine. Once the NCOs are getting trained, it won't matter what they think. They'll be stuck with the Union for the rest of their days. Unless someone has anything to say about it, I guess, but we'll see. I probably should switch everything over to focused hardwood production since wood's so cheap. It would probably make them more profitable, honestly. And then I could just make more furniture manufacturers. You know what? That sounds like a splendid idea. It might cause them to actually switch down negatively in some cases because suddenly the price of hardwood has just collapsed. So what we're going to do is just take a couple of these and kind of just bolster them a little here and there. Not too many, but, some here and there. Should we get more construction? Probably. Am I going to get more construction? I should. I was going to say no, and then I read that and realized that our unemployment in peasant pool is almost stagnant, as in we've produced so many jobs and so many extra goods and have not even made a dent into the unemployment pool. I mean, we've made like a 300,000 dent into the unemployment pool, but the peasant population has actually grown, which is, not my intention to have happen. Oh, -20, let's go. Sugar prices are going up, which is actually not a good thing. Let's not go. That's bad. Cuba, you make coffee. I need coffee, actually. I was about to make sugar there, but we need coffee. Can we make more wheat farms? We can. We should. Some vineyards are seeing some profitability, but we need the wheat farms. Not for the grain. I'm actually wanting the sugar, but grain prices have kind of recovered too, so... It's a 2-for-1 sale! Debating on switching the apple orchards from potatoes for the, liquor department, but I see the cost of liquor has actually recovered above +40, so we're going on another agriculturalization spree. That's probably not how you say it at all, but we're basically going to do things that we probably shouldn't to agriculture. But there's no one here to stop us. Except the giant red bar at the top of the screen that says we're losing money still after all of this, but I'm choosing to just politely ignore it and hope the economy outpaces it. Although subsidies have slightly gotten below 800K, which is a good sign. It just won't be if interest gets way too high. Standard of living is still very slowly going up. Technically, our costs went up because our construction good price just spiked. The good news, though, is that means we can just make more steel. Again, with more jobs. This isn't going to be an endless cycle until we're trapped in a construction loop where we're building vanity projects just to keep the economy flowing so people don't get fired. I love my job. It's not my job. I'm just having fun with the game. We could invade more countries as well, but at this point I'm trying to just get us as far as we can before I have to, like, call it and stop it for the night and then, you know, send it in and go to bed. So I can get my actual job done later, not tomorrow. You know, the same day 1.8 drops. That will be fun. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we built up the vineyards here because it was either that or livestock, and given the choice between the two, we didn't really have many options left. Actually, speaking of which, you have coal and iron, right? You do. So we could actually build a level 50 steel mill here. Very nice. I love it when their attitudes improve from, like, rebellious to defiant, and that's considered an improvement. This game's funny sometimes. I love it. Now, look, I know I said I wasn't going to do war, but I had to check. I had to check on the status of the Ottomans for a minute there. Wow, Austria's genial now? Not genial enough to sign a defensive pact. Oh, the Mensheviks. Who's leading the Mensheviks? The rural folk. Cool. Oh, the Petit Bourgeoisie are being led by a... Oh, it's Alexander Kerensky. Cool. Very cool. Oh, we'd get so much money if we reformed to that tax system, but we shouldn't. Standard of living hit 27 on average. And if you subtract the standard of living bonus, and remember, it rounds down to the nearest number, so it's actually only giving +2. That means our regular standard of living is actually 25. I'm just trying to run quick math here, actually. The automobiles are third highest now. Is that true? +51. Yes, they are. Okay, fair enough. We'll just make more. Ignore the fact that I did notice earlier that rubber prices were starting to rise again, and I don't quite think we have the material to keep that down. No, it's actually down to +28. It's fine. What the heck? It's at 95%. That'll be close enough. And then we could just make more steel. That's too much. That's slightly good enough. There we go. Should be fine. The anarchist. Well, now we'll construct faster. GDPC has almost reached 8. We're actually at almost 1.5 billion GDP. Very, very lovely. We started this at what? Just over 1 billion? In about 1902? So in a little over 10 years, it's almost increased by 50%. That's not exactly a 50% increase in a decade, but, you know, it's still pretty good. Whereas our rivals are sitting with their economies at, like, maybe $250 million. If even that. Opium addiction. Oh, no. Anyway. Japan and Qing just declared rivalries with each other. How cute. Ooh, we could make Japan a subject. Japan has lots of people with lots of tea plantation potential. Would anyone come to Japan's aid if we added them to the collective? France might. In other words, not enough people. And then let's also add Sakhalin return state. No, at this point, it would just become unincorporated. That would be a... Well, return state. I think that means we'd get it. But I don't really need it, so I'm not worried. We'll mobilize 2 forces, which don't have generals, because the generals got old and died, and... You know, I never got around to realizing they were gone. It's not that I didn't get around to realizing I needed to replace them. That's actually what happened. I didn't know I needed to replace them. And there's the NCOs, just in time for a new war. Also, I think we've got siege artillery at some point. I didn't switch over even though we got radios, but that's fine. NCO incorporation. Oh, should we try to invent the first airplane? Maybe we should. Concrete dock. Ooh, concrete dockyards. Yes. Actually, we'll get war propaganda because that's how to finish. War propaganda, I don't want it for the conscriptable battalions. I want it for the morale loss reduction and then just dropping the cost on the research a little bit there. Just knock those 2 out. Yes. Concrete dockyards. We can get modern ports. We don't need the extra convoys. It will just remove some jobs from that. Government jobs, mind you. I probably don't need to remove it that badly, though. But, you know, oh well. Japan has begun embargoing us. Well, Japan, I mean, you're welcome to do that, but, as soon as I realize which navy I need to send over there, you are doomed. And, you know, take 50 days or however long it takes to railroad an entire army over. Yep, we also have siege artillery, so these armies are about to become very strong. Relative to the average skirmisher unit. I mean, the British should have trench infantry, right? Yeah, they do, but they don't have siege artillery. And I know people are probably wondering what the heck is the difference. So shrapnel has 45 offense, 25 defense. Siege has 55 offense and 30 defense, with a morale loss of 6 instead of a... Well, actually, the morale loss is the same. It actually gets less kill rate, though, which is technically a negative because it means more of their soldiers aren't dying. But a plus 10 to your offense is pretty useful. Heavy tanks have even higher offense, and they don't have an increase in kill rate, but they do morale damage. Although, usually you don't reach tanks because, you know... They're very late into the game. We are going to go ahead and switch over to modern ports, though. Even though it will remove workers, it'll make things cheaper. We'll add more infrastructure overall. Doesn't use coal, does use oil. We have plenty of oil. Why not? And basically what happens here is that it removes some clerk jobs and a ton of laborer jobs, as well as some machinist jobs. We can also add even more ports now, though, so while we technically have less people working there, we can have... Wow, we're at 1 million now? Right, we just upgraded the whole army and mobilized portions of it. I don't want to, but we might have to raise taxes if the rate of issues continues. Oh, Japan backed down! Fantastic! I'm glad to see Japan made the right decision to back down. So I can mobilize a portion of the army and not worry about that crashing on our head later. Alright, so now we're just going to mass industrialize their tea plantations. I know that Japan is using subsistence rice paddies, so this is going to spike unemployment there. That's okay. They do have closed borders. This is not great for them. I love how the trade union is a Soviet loyal order. And there's Japan has socialism researched? Ooh. Ooh. If only I was at 50 cohesion. I'm surprised our cohesion is above 0. I'm surprised it's that high, actually. So, my thought process here is to annex these countries, these subjects that we got, to annex them and then release them so they'll have... Oh, you do have the automation tech. Oh, did you get that recently? Or did you always have the technology? Did they always have the technology, or did they only they must have only recently gotten it? I kind of want to annex and release them anyway, because they'll still have... Oh, I never changed... I never changed the power block name. Oh, yeah, I never changed this, huh? I never did change this. Did I? That's kind of embarrassing. I didn't realize that until now. It was still called Russian imperialism. Um, oops. Communist International. You know what, game? That works, even though our color is not quite red, but you know what? It's better than green. Wow, it took me until 1915 to realize that. That's really embarrassing for me. Oh well. Alrighty. Qing is taking on a debt. Qing is still below 100 million GDP and is still one of the largest economies. Actually, their economy's been shrinking. I mean, they did have a civil war, which would be a part of it. Standard of living has actually gone up. I don't like the implications of that. I'm going to ignore it. Uruguay now has a higher GDP than us, and Iran has reached... I think Iran already reached 9, and just mentioning it again at this point. Yeah, we'll have to double that, I guess, because they don't know what oil is, unfortunately. Bolivia's running on a laissez-faire system. I don't particularly agree with this, but I can't really change the circumstances of that. Speaking of which, how is Prussia doing? It is on universal suffrage. Fantastic. That has led to the petite bourgeoisie taking total power of the government. Less fantastic, but still cool. Well, at least the landowners can't take power, I guess. And if power is concentrated into one faction, they won't reach, you know, worker cooperatives, but you know what that means. They will, at the very least, not have a civil war for a while. I'm having to talk slowly so I make sure I know what I'm saying. These are at 1 million people now. Spanish, Filipino, Russian? Yep, there's Russian. Just because I'm looking through too many things at once. The extra coffee. The extra several thousand points of coffee we're getting here is good because we needed it. We could actually get a ton of iron from here now that I think about it. Speaking of which, nationalize. Sure. Another civil war. Is it the bourgeoisie again? It's capitalists. Not too different, but, you know, different enough. What are you willing to give me? You're not willing to become my protectorate, which is kind of what I want. It's kind of what would make this valuable, but you've got, what, industrialists in power? We actually still have industrialists around, surprisingly. We probably don't need to suppress the industrialists at this point, but I think it's mainly engineers. Yeah, it's all the rich engineers that have kind of sided with them. They're kind of split between them and the trade union, and that's with us suppressing the industrialists. Sugar's getting expensive. I mean, we mentioned that before, but I'm just kind of noticing it now. I really love making all of my liquor from rye farms, but I'm starting to wonder if we need to start using apple orchards. It would technically increase profitability if we switched just one, but I'm pretty sure if we switched all of them, it would probably be a different story. Yeah, yep, like 98% of all of our liquor comes from the rye farms. And last I checked, we weren't producing enough opium to make up the difference. Yeah, we have like almost 50,000 liquor being made. And Prussia's damaging relations, so it's just kind of stalled us out. Can I afford to upset you? Yeah. So I will. There we go. Oh, I was wondering why we were suddenly positive on the tax money. I stopped building, which is going to temporarily harm the economy. Because suddenly all that steel and explosives aren't really worth as much, and, you know, people are going to panic. Well, I shouldn't panic, but, you know, you get the idea of what's going on there. Wow, chairs are so cheap, I might actually... You know what? You know what? Let's give it a try. We have so much hardwood. Let's give it a try. I'm sure it's going to, like, bounce negatively at first, and then glass is going to go up in price or something, and we'll build off of that. You know what? Let's build off of that. Let's build off of that. That's a great idea. I can't tell you if it's actually a great idea, and we're probably going to be basically figuring this out last minute and not see the full ramifications, or maybe we will. And just kind of roll with the consequences as they come. At least our debt, I mean, our debt's been growing, but our credit's up to 500 million. I think we'll be okay. We finally found the oil in Baku. All 240 of it. Yeah, when I said Baku was crazy and had 240 oil rigs, I wasn't kidding. Trust me, we have oil for days. We could keep pumping this out for a while longer without much issue. GDPC of 8. Very nice. I think Finland and Uruguay's GDPCs fell. I'm not sure if ours spiked or if theirs fell. Theirs are kind of going up and down. Oh, Iran's at 26 GDP or GDPC. Standard of living. I wonder if they got Zeppelins unlocked or something and their mappy improved. I just realized we can find out. We can actually find out. They do. Oh, no! Iran has macroeconomics. Very impressive. We did give them all of our technology. That is true. What are their companies like? I'm curious. I know they're only going to have up to 5. The Iranian State Highway. They have one for opium plantations. Sugar. Coffee. Interesting. Those must be very productive. It also means the railways here for them are more productive than they otherwise would be. They're not using diesel engines, though, or steel passenger carriages, even though they probably could. I don't know. That's another reason why I'm hoping the 1.8 update will just help the AI out and just help it understand things better. Will it actually? No idea. The economy's at 1.55 billion GDP now. I'm trying to see if I can at least push us to 1920. We're making good progress. Oh yeah, how did Japan's economy react? Yeah, so we added Japan to our market and obviously built all those tea plantations, and their GDP skyrocketed. So they're already doing a lot better now. They're actually trying to pass proportional taxation. I don't know how well it's going to help them, but we'll see. They even have census suffrage. Very cool. Very cool, Japan. I'm pretty sure most of their profitability is going to be from that tea. That's why tea prices suddenly dripped downward. Or slipped downward, however you want to say it. I kind of want to grab modern financial instruments really quick just to reduce the interest pains. Not that it does much. I'm just thinking about our economical situation. Actually, paved roads would give more infrastructure. More infrastructure is more pop migration. Behaviorism, antibiotics. I mean, you can't go wrong with all of these technologies. If we get antibiotics, we could... You know what? Just because we're not going to be able to come back to this, because 1.8 will release and I'll want to play all my time on there next. We'll get antibiotics. We'll try to get the next level for... Oh, opium's expensive. For the healthcare system, just to kind of show it off what it looks like when you've got the modifiers up even higher. I'm not sure if it'll actually push people up higher, though. I think it's already at its limit, because if I go over here, that's what, 0.9? So you're already at 3. No. This is adding up to, what, 2.1? So it would just push it up a bit. Oh, that is true. That is true. I just realized that's from pollution at max, and if we get the next level of public health care, that would drop it. Yeah, it would drop the pollution effects by 15%. So we'll see. We'll see. I should go ahead and start mass building up agriculture out here, because although the 12 and 13 now are like red for productivity, because productivity is so high in other regards, we're just gonna build it all up anyway, just so the peasants stop being peasants. Hopefully, we'll see. They probably won't be. There will probably still be arable land that they can just utilize. That's just been conjured out of thin air. Because no one respects the law of thermodynamics or whatever have you, I guess. I don't know. The law of thermodynamics was the first thing I thought of when I started talking about that. We're just making land out of thin air. I don't know how we do it. It's witchcraft. That must be what it is. It's Soviet witchcraft. Making land exist that shouldn't exist. Meanwhile, the Dutch just reclaimed the sea with land by dumping dirt into it. It's actually more than that, but just a funny idea. The Soviets make it out of thin air, the Dutch actually reclaim it. Oh, God, I'm yapping so much, aren't I? I'm trying to just keep myself going through it, get us as far as possible. I'd love for us to at least hit 1920. I could get it to 1936, but then the amount of sleep I get would not be a wise amount. And I'm trying to not be completely terrible at that. I wonder if we're going to need more... We are going to need more fertilizer. It's actually kind of getting up there in price. Are there any fertilizer manufacturing plants? This is the wrong menu. Here we are. There are some that are below it, but I don't know. I guess I don't have to worry about the unemployment rate that much. They'll get more people sooner or later, won't they? Yeah, they will. And I hope these farms, too, just because their throughput bonus is going to be our 100% throughput bonus. So it's 53 rye farms acting as if there were 106 rye farms. Fantastic. Oh, there's going to be no starvation over here. We're at 27.5 standard of living. Not bad. I might do something silly and also drop... when we're about to end it, I might drop taxes again just to see what the standard of living looks like after some ticks. It would be highly unsustainable, and it would just be solely just for amusement purposes. Now, I know you could be making a silk, Japan, but what I need from you is not silk, it's tea. And unfortunately, the Koreans can't grow tea. Oh. Wait. Ooh, they're trying to get off of agrarianism. Wow, they have a lot of industrialists suddenly. I mean, I guess we invested into them a bit and reduced the number of peasants by a bit. Oh, if they could get off traditionalism, that'd be great. Korea's economy would grow. More than it already has. I think Japan is off of it, at least. Yeah. He's got that going for them. They're on homesteading as well. They got proportional taxation passed, too, although they're on very high taxes. Is their debt growing or shrinking? I'm curious. So their debt's growing by about 3,000 a week. Meanwhile, in 2 weeks, our debt's grown larger than their entire debt combined. That's a little scary to think of, actually. Oh. Excellent state of road networks in the District of Columbia. So we can pay a bunch of money for, like, decree cost reduction. No, we don't need that. District... Oh, right. In 1.8, we'll be able to rename things. We could rename this to, like, the District of Lenin or the District of Marx or something, just to rub it in even harder. Just for the fun of it. That sounds great. How many people are here? There are Russians here. It's not Russian majority, but there are Russians here. I love it. Let's build a bunch of ports just because. Again, just rubbing it into the US here. For no other reason other than because we could. So we did. Yeah, is that... Oh, the Confederate States of America exist. And by the Confederate States, I mean the Confederate State of South Carolina. I mean, you know, kudos to them, they succeeded. I don't know what they're going to do with their newfound freedom and market shortages, but, well, I suppose that's not our problem. We'll just send them our best regards and move on. This is not the area I would think to build up for motors, but it does have oil. And we're at this point, we're at the 95% market access price impact. And so where we build this is mostly minimal in its impact. It still has an impact, but our need to consider the impact is not as large as it is near the beginning of the game. Near the beginning of the game, you absolutely need to consider it very often. God, this is at 1 million people again? Why is the steel mill failing so poorly? Oh, coal is actually, like, really getting up there in price. Like, we really need to go on a Coal mine spree. I'm surprised at how high that's gotten. I'm not upset at all. It means I've got something to throw a ton of people at for jobs and what have you. I'm just surprised at how high it's gotten, because usually coal gets cheap once you start introducing oil to the system. Because everything that's using coal starts using oil, and then you don't need the coal as much. Remember, we switched our ports over from coal to oil, for example. It's probably because of all the steel mills we've... Actually, what is the biggest consumption of coal? Steel mills, tool workshops, power plants. Those are the top three. Tool workshops are using them for automation purposes. But again, it gives us a good reason to throw a bunch of people into some work, and gives us a bunch of construction for the pool for a couple of months that we can resoundly ignore. I was about to start building more government administration, and then I remembered that we have telephones now. Expensive telephones, yes, but still telephones. Enough to where I could switch over a couple of these. I should actually switch the one in Kuban as well. How many are people in Kuban now? Almost 9 million. Why is this place growing so much? Why is its attraction so high compared to other portions? Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I just answered that question myself, because the unused arable land is getting plus 30 because of the yeah. Yeah, I can't wait for that to be fixed. This is ridiculous. But we didn't do it on purpose. It kind of happened. But as far as I understand, it's because we got cooperative ownership, and that's kind of why it started breaking. They have public schools and healthcare? Oh, right. They had our laws when we released them as well. I don't do that as often as I should, so I kind of forget now and then. What is atheism at in the country? I'm curious. 70% now? Over 70%? Very nice. Russians at 56% of the total population. We're actually almost at 200 million people. And we haven't taken too much territory under our direct control. We've taken some, but their population size was minimal. We've taken these two states from China, which didn't have a high population, and then a lot of this area. I really want to annex Kokand for map painting purposes, but I don't think we're going to get around to that at this point. Which is fine. Still deficit spending. The deficit is kind of growing faster than the economy. Primarily because of power plants. Really should find more options to pour stuff that... or things into for that. Yeah. Honestly, it might be time to activate the arcades. I mean, we have... well, we had rising unemployment and peasant numbers. They're actually falling slowly. This is another potentially dicey, maybe stupid idea of mine. But what if we just switched over to arcades and watched everything burn? We're going to let a tick happen. We're going to let everything register here. That's actually profitable? I mean, other areas probably aren't profitable. Or at least they won't be as profitable. I'm just surprised it's not just burning itself in agony from the lack of profitability. We're kind of reaching our limit on service production, though. Because that's about as good as service production gets with a fully staffed arcade with electrical streetlights. That's about as good as it gets. Leisure can be sated by a bunch of other things that we do have, but, you know, if what they need is services, we might be reaching the end of the line in that regard, and I don't know if that's going to actually help someone's profitability. I'm only really checking the laborer group. So who knows? Maybe it's helping someone somewhere. Well, these guys are at 33. See, 31 after taking into account modifiers. Oh, it's helping these... you know what? It's helping this group of clerics grow in profit, or standard of living. We're at 22.7. Maybe after a few more ticks, we'll get that, because this will take about a year to finish. We may as well complete our welfare state as well while we're at it. Get modern financial instruments. Maybe get the first plane, if we have time. Maybe. Probably not. We don't need planes. Who needs planes? We probably need planes. Woo! Prosperous clerks, even though it's being modified, it's still cool. In a government building, I should add. Sucks for the discriminated laborers, though. Except these guys, they're not discriminated, but you're 31.2%. Yes. So I think what happened there is that largely just reduced service costs and just kind of stabilized people where they were at. Or some people grew, and then maybe what happened is some people in the urban centers actually dropped. Yeah, because there's less profit. But to be fair, the shopkeeper group and the clerk group grew, and they're both paid more than the laborers that were fired. So I would say on average, standard of living still kind of went up, even if it kind of went down. And we're at 27.8 now, so something increased. On average, that is. On average. We could get more transportation from them by switching to public motor carriages, which would fire more people, but that only works if the automobiles are profitable, and right now it's the engines that have less profitability than the automobiles. So I'm trying to use the urban centers to generate additional engine demand so we can then make more automobiles and level out the pricing on both. Oil's actually at -3, so we could arguably consider another upgrade. In fact, I would love to get Baku in on all of this. And we're just going to mass build that up there. We are going to stop helping the District of Columbia because it no longer needs it. And we're actually going to start bolstering here. Argentine talent? No need. Trying to start getting people to come to Baku instead of leaving Baku. A lot of Russian here, a lot of English. Well, relative to the total population, at least. There we go. People will start arriving here, and it'll grow faster once all the railway networks are finished. And in 30 weeks, we'll see what the public healthcare system pushes us to. We are kind of running out of time for me, though. Not too badly, but, you know. I've got to get I do have to upload the video, and that takes time, and I don't want to be sitting on 6 or 5 hours of sleep. We've still got some time. I'm just kind of noticing it and chatting about it to my... Technically to you, the viewers, and myself. Otherwise, this is just an echo chamber, and we're going to have to be very worrisome. Right! Japan has coal. Oh, Britain, no, don't do this. Please don't do this to me. What do you want? Maybe I can get it. Tripolitania! Why? Why are you obsessed with Tripolitania? What is wrong with you? Why do you want Tripolitania so badly? I don't get it. Regime change. Can I regime change you? I could. Wait. No, our infamy is low enough. Wait, where is it? The Raj. We are either going to have to invade the Raj itself and hold it, which is possible. And then the Bombay Treaty Port. Ah, the Nova Goa. We could seize that too, but that might be risky. Maybe we just go for the one and done. Just the one and done. I don't want to do this, but I am gonna have to mobilize the army, aren't I? It's gonna be so expensive. Austria's willing to join us, I noticed. If we give Soviet Nigeria over to them, well, that's a bust. They want British Senegal, and Morocco will join us. Morocco, which has 38 divisions. Actually, Morocco can be made into a dominion. There we go, more red on the map. Just the way I like it. Alrighty. So, I guess we'll get through this war, seize the Raj, and then maybe call it there. This is going to push me over the time that I set for myself. That's okay. I managed this poorly from the beginning. I will manage it poorly until the end. That way we've at least stuck with it all the way. Regardless of the consequences. We do have better troops now, at least. Moldavia has betrayed us. Oh, the Ottomans also joined against us. Hello. That would make us a pariah, and we've come this far without being a pariah, so we probably won't. This could be an advantage for us, secretly speaking. Again, we do have a better... Our military is smaller overall, but we have siege artillery and squad infantry against shrapnel and trench. So our offense and defense will arguably be better overall. If that unit's there, we can move these 75,000 troops down. The Ottoman Empire's troops won't be dangerous. It's just the British troops that are coming in that'll be a problem. But we'll deal with it. You know what? Since they are kind of on our borders, let's move you up there to stop them from naval invading up there as well, so we can bring the extra 90,000 troops down here. Although one of them is going to have to break off our naval invasion. We're at quite the 2-to-1 disadvantage. I'm not sure if attacking would be wise. They are attacking into us and taking a lot of casualties for it. Hang on. Let me really quickly kind of set up some construction in the background so things are at least somewhat progressing while I'm not looking. Okay, let's at least build it where there's a lot of peasants somewhere. 27.9 is our standard of living now before this war began to disrupt everything, as the British often do in this time period. Ooh, we're at minus 40? Because units are moving. Because units are moving, it is okay. They are just moving for reasons unbeknownst to me. Because we already took a state, and it disproportionately causes lots of movement. So we are going to lose this fight, although they blundered. But they are taking more casualties than us. We're not constructing again. I mean, if that trend continues, where, like, we do lose the battle, but they lose twice as many men, we should be fine. I mean, some of these areas are still having shortage issues because there's just not enough people to work them. Some of them are having issues because we just built a bunch of stuff and I forgot to, you know, upgrade the network. Which is definitely my fault. Coal's below 10% base price, though. We've got that going for us. Yaroslav has an electricity shortage. I guess the urban center grew enough. Some areas like Turkmenia's average standard of living is affluent. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, you love to see it. Areas like this. Oh, wait, no, they actually have enough employed people here. They just need more railway. Oh, wow, 103 oil rigs. Hang on, give them more railway. And more oil rigs. Anywhere where this will be the most profitable is probably an area that needs more. Baku probably doesn't need more, but we'll give it more anyway, just because it's Baku. It's going to need it regardless. Oh, Hamburg went socialist. Cool. Socialist, communist, however you want to say it. Don't know if I can actually get this naval invasion off, but we will give it a go. Yep, as expected, they're still fighting that battle. Jeez, they've lost almost 100,000 are dead. Like, forget the nearly 200k wounded. Almost 100,000. Is it gonna hit 100k? Oh my god, it did. That's insanity. Are we gonna win the battle too? Oh my god. This is a battle of over 600,000 people. And over 100,000 people died on one battle. Oh my god. And not to mention the side that was outnumbered about 2-to-1, at least 2-to-1 actually, I forgot the numbers there for a second, ends up winning. Ah, and this is why you want a 3-to-1 advantage when fighting the defender as the attacker. Historically speaking, in actual, you know, real world terminology. Because it is difficult to attack a defender when they are defending, generally speaking. Unless they're fighting with knives and you're fighting with fully armed battle mechs, I suppose. But, you know, we're not trying to calculate that. Alright, I'm really trying to push us through here, but I keep needing to come around and build more things, and then that takes a while. Do we need more glassworks? Probably not. We already have enough being built. Poland's actually heavily employed at this point. Really have no one else to employ there. I guess it's back to the areas of places like Ukraine. let's build this up a bit, actually, and then get some more infrastructure, because that's going to eat into it. Kiev could use more. I guess we'll add the brine electrolysis system, add some of those, and then 5 more power plants to make sure it's fine. I do see that we're running another deficit on our bureaucracy, actually, because our population grew. So we'll just switch over a couple of these. We really should make more telephones, actually. They're getting rather expensive. Social Security and Healthcare level 5. I'll let it tick to the next week. That did bump up standard of living by another point. We're now at 28.9 standard of living. And this war is massively increasing our deficit spending, which is to be expected. Alright, oh, there's almost no one there. I don't think we can make the landing, but because we're doing fine, and actually one of our units was at the Caucasus HQ instead of fighting, I'm gonna pull them over anyway. How many have died in this war already? Like, combined on both sides. A lot. Over 400,000. Most of the casualties are from that one battle that we saw. Nope. I do need to move one set of units over there because the line moved forward and Moldavia is now its own front line. Okay, so naval invading here is not going to work, but it did kind of yank a ton of British troops back, and they're actually taking more casualties than we are in the fight because of the offense-defense difference, which is good to see. The British Raj, on the other hand, the Raj has trouble recruiting officers. It has practically no officer qualifications because it discriminates against everyone, and discriminating against the soldiers who could become officers makes it really difficult to train them into officers. In fact, no one is getting it. Let's see, that saved us a whole... Well, at the moment, nothing on our interest because it's just so high. Oh, well. Oh, no, that actually knocks 30k off the interest rate. Very nice. Very good. And minting... I don't know how much minting was. It went up slightly, is all I could really say. It went up an amount that helps further our goals. Let me exploit the Amazon a little here to give Mato Grosso a temporary migration attraction bonus. They're both over 1.5 million people now. We can actually just max out the cotton plantation, too. It's giving us thousands of iron now. Ugh. All the coffee as well. It's about 1/4 of our coffee production. Iran might actually hit 100 million GDP before this ends. Japan really grew. The U.S. has been growing its economy despite the wars that happened. The Raj is 171 million that we're going to try to eat. That we are trying to yoink. Speaking of yoinking, time to add adamant defense. I don't know how many of their troops are actually going to head over there. Some of them might, but we have locked up. Yeah, wow, they're being overprotective of London. They have over 400,000 troops there. 29th standard of living average. Just kind of clear this up here a little bit. Cordial relations with Prussia. That means they still hate us because of our infamy. Moldavia has given up. Fantastic. They weren't really a big thorn in our side on its own. It's just that extra front existing meant I had to think about it the whole time. I had to consider it as we were fighting because if they were able to ever push out, they would just cause problems. You know, we could get automatic power looms. That would help some of the areas with the low electrical cost. Not that our employment is an issue enough for us to do that yet. God, this is at 1.3 million peasants again. Everyone's just coming into the Kuban now. Oh my god. How many people are Russian here? 40% of them? Ooh, there's so many... Just so many people coming to this one specific state. And with, you know, Kuban being the popular destination was just not on my list. We actually need to think about infrastructure for it now, too. Huh. Rostov is now getting people, the Dakotan people, which is an indigenous cultural group. Dakotans? Dakotans might be more accurate, but I think you roughly get the idea. Yes, yes, give in. Give in, Britain, so we can maybe put an end to this because time is really passing here. That is fine, though. One last big war against Britain to just bully them to get the Raj. I won't be getting the subjects that are there because they're all connected to Britain. What? Give me just a moment. I need to move over I need to move over, like, 2 army groups to make sure we don't lose it. But that was some wild defense I just saw there. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. 122 defense. What we have to see the casualties on this. We have to see, like, the end result casualties. It's like for every Russian soldier that dies, and I'm using that to say, like, or I guess every Soviet soldier to refer to, like, a national soldier that dies, over 10 enemies die. That's insane. It's more than 10 now in the retreat. They're just getting massacred. That's insane. So the end result. Oh, the end result is like a 14-to-1 ratio in terms of kills to deaths. Which is, that is extremely efficient defending. Do we even need to send over the extra troops? We probably didn't. Like, these guys have it in the bag. They're gonna do it again. At least about a 10-to-1 ratio again, but still. That's kind of scary when you think about it. Glass is -6, porcelain is -11. You know what? We could build a third electrics industries here in Kuban, actually. Massively increase the number of railways, and then, because we know what 50 is going to cost, massively expand power plants, because I know what's coming. Yeah, that'll take 7 months to finish. Oh, God. But you know what? We did need more radios, and we did need more telephones. Oh, we're gonna do it. At this rate, we are gonna do it. The extra troops there's no way they'll get it in time. I mean, they're raiding our convoys, but we're also raiding their convoys to some extent. It'll be fine. They aren't sinking enough of them for it to make a difference. The Ottomans have now left the war after being fundamentally beaten. So everyone's now heading over to India to fight the war there. Here's hoping the war ends before that. Because that's going to be a lot of troops. And they don't have to win every battle, they just have to win enough battles. Like, that battle that they're winning there because it was so disproportionately different. They're at 14 for the approval. Oh, more troops are here again. That's good. But here are more enemy troops. I mean, look, more British soldiers have died than more Soviet soldiers. So I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this outcome. This is going to be insane. Okay. Opposing peace deal. 173 million GDP. We're gonna have so much opium. And tea. Welcome to the Soviet East India Company. We don't control all of India, but I think we control a good chunk of it. What is your current government? A Democrat? They're led by a Democrat? You're on land-based? Proportional would actually help you. Let's actually push you to get proportional then. That would appease a lot of people too as well. Why are you running this as... No, never mind. Anyway, the point is that we can maybe solve the tea plantation crisis now. Soon. Why do you have an infrastructure problem? What have... I guess Britain wasn't taking good care of you. What were they, India? Don't worry, EIC. We're here now as we just quietly remove all the company's shareholders because, you know, we don't trust them. Yeah, we're gonna build a ton of those there because guess what? We're gonna build here. By the way, Delhi is one of my favorite ones to build in India because it works with regular subsistence farms, not rice subsistence farms. If you're doing the rice paddy ones and you're switching to plantations, it's not going to employ everyone. So that's why I like focusing on building up Delhi early on. Plus, it's got a good river bonus. We invested in you and you don't want to be our subject? That's sad. Okay, we have 200 million people now. 29.1 standard of living. That's having a civil war revolt. We're gonna hit 1920 soon. Poland is not yet lost. What is Krakow doing again? You know, if I didn't respect the city so much, I'd go in there and wipe it out. It's awful of me. We can arrest the rule folk radical. He's been replaced by a communist. That is a problem. The flu event has occurred. So, we're kind of about to end this just as the flu kicks off. That's hilarious. I also noticed our balance has gotten a lot better because, yeah, our new puppet's sending 116k a week. Oh, their standard of living, not standard of living, their GDP jumped. Sweet. I don't know if ours will jump. Yep, nope, ours is already starting to go up. Presumably because, you know, tea got cheaper. Opium got a bit cheaper. Although, obviously, that's not going to be great for the people who are literally working tea plantations because now they're making a bit less money. So that can negatively impact them. But if their main, like, pricing also went down, whatever they're spending their money on the most is also down, usually it'll balance out. Might be able to get more sugar now, actually. That would be great. Grocery prices are back up. The Scottish are coming again. We'll see how far we can get before the Austrian flu hits us. And it said what? It said it appeared in Tyrol? Which, let's just say it likes to take lives. We could definitely get through it, no problem. It's just, that's going to be quite the ride whenever it hits. It is possible for it to land and then just get wiped out quickly in your country, but usually it'll just be fine. Oh, Iran's GDP just dropped because its main export was, like, opium and stuff, and now that's less profitable because the East India Company is here, and they raised the, supply. Still not my problem. Good thing we have elevators to get the extra construction and counteract all this turmoil. Although, once they pass proportional taxation, which they're guaranteed to, not only will we get more money, it's going to reduce a lot of their boiling tension. So are people emigrating at all, by any chance? Probably not, because migration controls are active, yeah. Now, if that were to be released, they would migrate. How is Britain doing? I totally forgot to think about that. Well, their GDP's fallen by over 20 million, and their standard of living has slipped a little. Not a lot, but it has slipped a little. They are making some silk still. Are they importing silk from us by any chance? No, from Qing. That makes sense. Be weird if it was us, actually. Let's see. God, we're spending 81k on this power plant alone. Well, once that electrical industry is fully up and running, it won't be spending it anymore. These are still very high, but at least all the people here working as peasants are peasants no more. They are peasant begone. Is this having a, yep, it's having an issue where no one wants to work in the railway because they'd rather work in the oil. And so now you have this issue where, man, I wish railways were, personally, I kind of wish railways were government buildings like ports because of the importance of infrastructure. But I kind of understand why they're private businesses too, because historically a lot of railroads were private businesses. I think ports were too, technically, though, but, you know. There's only so many government buildings you can have in the game. And the military's already taking a lot of the budget. As it always does. That part's just me trying to be funny. But it is causing a slight issue where we're not really getting as much oil from there as we arguably should be. Because of the supply issues, it also means their own standard of living is suffering negatively. Not much I can do except hope that migration continues, even if it doesn't continue at a rapid pace. 10.5 million in Kuban. Whoa. Way too many people here. It's becoming its own economic powerhouse. I think it is more than Kiev now. Nope, that's at 13. Fair enough. Fair enough. Alrighty. What if What else could we build here up to level 50? Fertilizer, technically. Not the best option, mind you, but is an option. How is a fine art demand, actually? We have not checked on it. Fine art is actually above base price. Who's the biggest consumer? Engineers, machinists, shopkeepers, laborers. Interesting. Interesting. I mean, I guess they're consuming things like automobiles and stuff, too. Did we ever get... You know what? I never thought about it. The Belle Epoque. No, because we never got a level 10 university, really? Okay, well, shows what I know. Not a lot, apparently, because I don't have the universities to know. Let's quickly go deal with that, then. Oh, hey, the standard of living of the East India Company did actually go up. I presume it's because they have much cheaper grain and groceries now? And so it's just easier for them to buy things? Or is it because their tax law changed? It's because their tax law changed. That's the real reason why. Ah. Yep, so the flu is now here. The states affected get a plus 50% of mortality. We are going to be seeing quite the sudden drop in population numbers, I'm sure. Ooh, really quickly, though. 32 affluence. Dang. I mean, that's with a plus 3 from modifiers, but, like, you know, still, that's a lot. Very nice, really. We may have to take reactionary measures. Very reactionary, of just shutting the economy down to stop that, but, we'll see. We don't have too much more time here, because we are, this is really getting a longer episode, too, but this is, you know, it deserves this. Mazovia and Grodno have both gotten it, too, now. Lovely. Do we have any measures to actually... pandemic response. Yeah, we'll do strict lockdown. That reduces the chance of successive waves, but it means everywhere is basically going to get a massive drop in throughput. Oh, no. Oh, those rolled much higher. Those rolled much higher. It is going to hurt the economy. If you see drops in our GDP, aside from me not constructing for a bit here, do not be surprised. I'm honestly expecting a notable drop in GDP right now. We're actually going to build another 50 of these. Right here, just to employ all these peasants. Because you know what I'm going to do? We're just going to go full throttle on this here. Where are they? Sorry, I got distracted. Telephone switchboards. It says it'll need 1,000. That's a lie. That is a lie. You want to know how much it's actually going to need? About 3,000 more. It is going to increase our deficit, but that's going to help recruit more people to the bureaucracy, making more bureaucrats, show up the standard of living a little, and help buoy the economy through this time. We're literally hiring more bureaucrats. Ah, there we go. The Belle Epoque is now active. Dough rollers will be done in 14 days so we can fire people from their lovely, lovely jobs again. Like the horrible monsters we are. God, I love this game. I mean, the 2,900 plus hours I have in it says I love this game. So Kurland and South Livonia both got whacked. How bad is it? 50%? That's like the least bad. That's as weak as it could possibly be. And the areas it hit, I think, are with... I know they're around here. Courland. I can't find some of my own states. Oh, right, this new state that was added in 1.7. Okay, 50% mortality increase is the lowest that I could possibly be. That is as low as it could get. We have so much oil. Should we get oil-fired power plants? I presume not. We really need something to dump coal into. Ooh, paved roads. Why not? Paved roads. They'll be done in 3 to 5 months. And then we'll just have every road in the country paved automatically by default. I'm sorry. There's a war going on? I was too distracted by everything else to realize there was a war going on. Really should pay attention to that, I guess. It's usually very important to know if your country is fighting someone else. Oh yes, let's send the army from Poland. That'll end well. You know, the area that's currently undergoing a flu epidemic. Flu is spread to Pskov and Tver. Well, it's kind of just cutting across the northern area of the country, but it is going to reach those areas that have other... It is going to get closer and closer to the economic hearts. But it's only going to be a couple months, and then it will hopefully just burn itself out. Unfortunately, the throughput negative is affecting railways, too. And my hope here is that by getting paved roads, the automobiles make more infrastructures, that it will partially resolve some issues we've been having. To give you an idea, automobile consumption, I think one gives... What? Greece? How could you? Your market will collapse. I mean, your market's already collapsed. Your people have been leaving for decades. Oh, dear God. Ah. Right. Actually, Greece leaving might not be a bad thing, because our cohesion will finally be above 0. Now, if the East India Company didn't hate us, we'd be in business. Oh, their economy is just booming. Ugh. Ugh, they're going to all die. Because I don't think the AI... I think I've seen the AI do lockdowns from time to time, just not a guaranteed set of them. Let's just try to change it over. Why not? I don't think it'll pass, but we'll try. Just for the funny of it, if we're still here by then. I say if we're still here by then, because we're really digging into the timer here. But I'm really trying to see how far we can push this, and I really feel like this is just some interesting bits that we just have to see. Because we have the opportunity to see it. I'm going to use this to figure out any areas that really didn't get their agriculture built up that have a lot of people to employ. Some of them did not get it all the way. I know Silesia here is suffering because of the, again, the throughput negative. It's a pain. It's a right pain. It massacres the railways production, literally having the infrastructure, but we're building more stuff there anyway, so we'll upgrade it regardless. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if, yeah, our GDP kind of stutters a bit here because of that sudden drop in economic activity, especially some places like this area where there's like a good 6 to 8% of our GDP. Merv and Uzbekia. Oh, that's a different direction for the plague. Well, it's coming up from the south. Oh, right. Yeah, our subjects are going to be seeing that too, huh? And they're going to be having... Yeah, Iran really can't afford deaths. Did that say Hokan from the United States? Or did I misread that? I love how all these people are American Hokan people. Oh, indigenous... Oh, I'm sorry. I read Hokan, and I was thinking Hakka from Qing. Where are they? The Hakka right here. Yeah, no, that's my bad. That's a lot of mass migration into the Ukrainian region. British Welsh, Austro-Hungarian, North German, Ottoman Albanian. I feel like this is just happening non-stop while I wasn't looking. Even the capital's getting migration. Swedish people. I love how that reads. The Swedish are moving in. Tula's got like 500,000 unemployed. Let's fix that by slightly employing some of them. But only some of them. Also, yeah, that switch to the luxury furniture actually kind of worked out. I guess what happened is glass just kind of took up a lot of the demand for household items. Yeah, 40k pop consumption. Wow. Yeah, wow. Okay, yep, that would explain it. Sadly, our standard of living has slightly dropped thanks to the, Oh. Russian becomes obsessed with fine art. You know what? I want to see what happens. This is a horrible idea because we're not prepared for it. I want to see what happens. Show it. How hard does this spike? I gotta see how hard this spikes. we might need some art academies. You know, There is Uzbekia does have a massive. Why does it have such a massive? I'm sorry. How many? Uh, right. Okay. Um, we're just gonna. Yeah. Yeah. We're just gonna start building some of those down here, if that's okay with you. How many do these employ again per level? What is the base? I need to find one of them. This should be an Art Academy around here somewhere. 70K. It's what, 5,000 a level? That's not bad. Yeah, so fine art just spiked hard. I think that means automobiles went down then, right? Yes, they did. Because over half our population just became obsessed with fine art. I wouldn't be surprised if dividend taxes flipped a bit as well. They did not, but we're still running that same deficit spending that we've been running. The art academies of Uzbekia, that just doesn't sound right at all. Cuba is having yet another... Could you stop having revolts for like 5 years, maybe? Have you just been flip-flopping between laws? Oh no, Kiev just got the first wave. I mean, it's not going to hurt the population growth that much, but that's a big chunk of the economy. That's 5% after adding the effects. Because keep in mind, these people are going to see a temporary drop in standard of living now. So that's going to suck for them. I guess all of our art academies need to switch to film art now, too. Because we need to, like, pump out the art. Trust me, the art demand is going to grow even higher once there's more of it. Right now, it's just maxing out because there's literally, like, nothing else I can buy. So this means anything used for leisure is probably going to see a massive drop in its 27 average annual wage? What are you trying to pay these people? What do you think they're worth? Austro-Hungarian flu spreads. I feel like 14 is already a lot of money. You're trying to pay them how much? I mean, I get it. We need to get them jobs right now, so I'm just gonna like financially fund this anyway while you slowly lower the wage and figure out your equilibrium, but that is just insane. Yep, 5 more power plants should do it just fine. And that's gonna employ what, 500,000 people? We arguably could build another 100 here. Why not? And to heck with it, some more power plants just to make sure. I think we already built plenty of railways. Yeah, we built a bunch of extra railways already being funded by us. Oil in the North Caucasus. The flu is spread again. It's kind of spreading around in this region now. I'm not going to say it's contained, but I noticed it's not spreading further eastward. It's kind of getting contained over here, which is good. That means it's not going to affect the entire economy, only a portion of it. And we can't really stop it from affecting the... We can't stop it from having an effect. We can just stop it from having a massive effect. Oh man, these like 2 million peasants that are gonna get jobs. This is gonna be so good. Unless they all... Oh no, they're literally not making money here. They are standard of living 19. 16 base. They are literally peasants. It shouldn't be happening. That is ridiculous. Anyway, Minsk. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's actually gonna drop the automobiles more, isn't it? Oh, yeah, it's gonna drop the automobiles more a bit. I also just realized the motor industries are now just, like, eating up subsidies that they don't need, and so is the electrical industry. We'll always fund the military, though, because, you know, someone has to protect the country from us. I mean, from the enemy. Whoever they might be. Tula? No, not Tula. And Moscow, no. Oh, no. That's really getting into our heart. Oh, yeah, see, now Kiev is 7% of the economy again after its negatives have worn off. I don't know how many more art academies we'll need, because I think it's going to start, yeah, dropping. But then again, it could also be, well, 1, people have dropped in standard of living because of the flu, but also 2, people might be paying a lot for leisure because, you know. Then again, leisure expenses usually don't rise sharply until you're getting to the 40-50 range for standard of living. Yeah, even here, this leisure is down. Might drop the opium demand, though, so that's good, because opium is in the leisure category. So that would actually be a good thing, because then that could be used for the intoxicants instead. So yeah, maybe just those 200 for now. English mass migration to perm, cool. I think it is. I think this art academy is actually going to run a horrific deficit right now. Yeah, paper prices have actually gone up because of this. You definitely need to be bumped up to 50. And I guess it makes sense for Kuban to go from 10 to 50 as well. And then we'll see what it looks like after that. Because that'll be several thousand pieces of paper that are being made. Not Yaroslav and Tambov as well. I'm hoping it'll burn out soon. But, you know, we'll find out at some point. 2% of the GDP now, and it's just art. It's basically just art. 18% local. I guess it should make some of its own paper too, huh? And tools, even if it's not a lot. I mean, it has a ton of people here. It may as well have a level 50 paper mill while we're at it. It at least has a local wood supply that it can utilize. Thankfully, our population is still growing due to mass migration and the fact that we've at least contained it enough to where it keeps burning out. I don't know who built the synthetic... I know who built the synthetic plants for the dye. It wasn't me. It was probably the capitalists before we took over. Oh, we could get assembly lines going. Should we get assembly lines going? Maybe we should. We just knocked out a ton of peasants. Oh, this is profitable now because they kept dropping the wage until they found an equilibrium where it actually, you know, didn't murder itself. And now, all these 1 million people who are working as peasants are no longer working as peasants. Which is fantastic, because that means they are now demanding a higher level of goods. They're probably going to drop a little in standard of living, mind you, because right now they're not getting any of the very tiny extra balance. Actually, they are getting half of it. With Mato Grosso and Para, it's in South America now? Ugh. At least I remembered where that was. How much of this population here are, like, academics now? I'm a little curious. 11.5% academic. Or academics. Ugh, that's great. I love it. We're so close to 1.8 million. I was hoping we'd hit 2 million for this. But we are kind of getting to the edge of the end here. Like, I cannot keep this going much further. New money! And more plague. Oh, I was kind of hoping to hit 30 standard of living too after how close we got. But, you know, again, the plague is here. Ooh. Oh, yes, this generates cautious. You're an agitator, though. You're a very old agitator. 77. Wow, good job. Been kicking around for a long time, I see. Oh, shoot. Did the Kuban get hit by the plague? No! That was the latest area to get hit. Oh, literally one of the production heartlands. Along with the others, obviously. Oh, man, that's so sad. Speaking of sad, wine is literally at minus 60% price. That is just awful. I feel terrible for the people that are being forced to work there. They're barely making money. Ugh. Is this plague going to stop anytime soon? It's starting to rip through our core. It's kind of ripping through the core southern area here. Yep, there goes the standard of living going back down again. There goes the economy going back down again. Apparently, at some point, it did hit 1.8 billion GDP for, like, a week, and then it fell back down. And now steel prices are probably going up because, you know, the plague, again, is messing everything up. I'm just going to keep complaining about the plague right now because it's the main thorn in our side, and so I have something to target. And it's a plague, so no one will defend it. Probably. How is Baku doing, aside from any potential plague issues? It actually has infrastructure. Fantastic. So it actually has people. Fantastic. It does not have enough transportation because it doesn't have enough workers still. But it's getting there. At least this means its infrastructure is increasing with each passing week, so even more people will start migrating to it. I'm kind of ignoring half the wars going on right now. Actually, Nigeria is being lost. I really shouldn't ignore that. But the other one with the usual circumstances when it comes to Cuba, we'll just ignore it. The petite bourgeoisie are now powerful? What? How? How? Is it all the new clerks? Is it just a shift in dynamic? How did you... I'm literally suppressing you. How did you become so powerful? I mean, I guess I'll take the extra bureaucracy and the reduced loan interest rate, but I'm so confused. Oh well, at least they can't take the means of production from us, right? Probably. Let's not find out. You know what? I think we need to go back over here, re-examine. Wait, when did you get those? When did you get irrigation? Is that why your GDP also spiked? Oh, I've never seen the AI East India Company with this, or at least I haven't seen it in so long. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Make another 100 tea plantations. And maybe get a lot more railways, because this is going to cost a lot. Oh, you're not using steel, at least you're using wood, I guess. That's a step up in the right direction. They're still trying to pass Council Republic. They're at a 43% chance, and there's no risk of civil war, so they might actually get it if they're given enough time. Electric arc process has been given to us, so we can now make more terrible decisions if we so choose. And I'm tempted to do so, but this plague is convincing me otherwise. How many states are affected by it? 86 out of 94 unaffected currently. Alrighty. What are we at now? 30 cohesion? What's stopping it? Still the same issue as before. Got it. Mecklenburg. Oh, Mecklenburg is a protectorate of Russia. Or Prussia. Dang it. I didn't recognize that. I don't know. At this point, do we change? Advanced research is probably not needed as much anymore. I mean, we could switch to vassalization for the extra income from the subjects. Although that runs the risk of them breaking down economically, which is a terrible idea. Transportation infrastructure? It's more infrastructure. Well, it's not the worst idea in the world. We don't need colonial offices. We don't really... Do we even have a police force? I don't think we have a police force. There's external trade. It's such a late time to be making this kind of decision. Really don't need to be making this kind of decision. But here we are. There's freedom of movement if we want to attract even more people, but that's, not on the cards for me here. Militarized industry gives us balloon reconnaissance, but again, we're not really looking for any additional wars here. We're just trying to get to the end. I mean, there's ideological truth. I guess. Kind of helps, kind of doesn't. Give us some of our infrastructure. Foreign investment would kind of, sort of help, except everyone's a subject, so it doesn't matter. Let's just grab transportation or infrastructure. Why not? It'll give us more infrastructure everywhere. That will be helpful. But more importantly, it means we can actually use joint diesel trains. I don't know if the AI will, though. They might actually break here and just use experimentals only. Here's hoping they switch to their joint steam trains. Or we may have just broken all of our AIs on that. But, well, it's good to test that the AI knows how to use it, right? Right? Well, they'll figure it out at some point. Wow, who did they upset? Someone just slipped to -10. Or, you know, died, I guess, and got replaced by someone else. Which is probably what really happened there. So, that's going to have a civil war, unfortunately. Plague is still spreading. Oh, good. Iran switched over to some of them, at least. They haven't, but whatever. They'll maybe figure it out at some point in the future. They probably won't, but, you know, we can hope. We can have faith in our vassals, right? They'll figure it out eventually. They're probably not going to figure it out anytime soon. I have little faith that they will. But we're going to pretend that we have all the faith in the world. I know Japan gets a bunch of lead, too. I'm just not interested in the lead at the moment for now. I need to build up our base of lead first. But I am interested in their coal, that's for sure. And their sulfur. Definitely their sulfur. Even if they can't use oil. Yet. I say yet, because, again, we're kind of hoping that maybe one day they can. But we do actually need to think about oil in other areas, because we are, oil. Sulfur in other areas, because we are kind of running out ourselves. Which is never a good thing. The joint diesel trains basically generate a bit more transportation. I think they generate a bit more infrastructure, too. I don't know, joint steam trains are like 30. It's kind of like an equal ratio. It just, you know, one level makes a tad more, and that's kind of it. I couldn't think of what else to grab there. We didn't really need advanced research anymore, so I just went the heck with it. We'll just grab the infrastructure item. Because I can't think of anything else right off the top of my head, so we just defaulted to something. Yep, they'll definitely have a civil war, and we're probably going to put that down. That's okay. God, I wish we didn't get hit by this plague. It really is kind of messing our standard of living up a bit. And we are over 3 hours now, so what we might do here before that civil war happens is we're going to kind of just reach our endpoint here. We're just going to deficit spend really hard, see if we can hit 30 standard of living that is supported by a healthcare system, or if we'll just drown. We're in 1923, so it's not quite, you know, it's not quite 1936, but this is still really far. This is still really far ahead. Oh, wait, no, we shouldn't build more art academies. This one's barely profitable as it is on its own. Japan. Can Japan do sugar? That's a good question. Japan cannot do sugar. Ah, the East India Company can do sugar. It's about to have a civil war. Fantastic. I'll take your entire stock of sugar. Ugh. I mean, if they have the Civil War, we would just fight it, and the Council Republic would get established anyway, you know, problem solved. But that's going to take even more time that we may not have. Oh, Kiev got hit by it again? Ah. Curses. Curse you, Austrian plague of flu. Curse you in every life you've taken from us. Dang, these are 34 with modifiers, so that's 31 base. Very nice. Very nice. It's still spreading. Oh, it's spreading all the way here to Qing. How's Qing doing with that? Not great. There are some casualties. As there always will be. Well, we pushed it to 29.6, but unfortunately some of the economic hearts like Kiev are suffering a 50% throughput negative. We are still deficit spending, and now that deficit spending is getting out of control. I mean, if we raise taxes, it would go to 80K deficit, so, like, obviously it would be sustainable. I think we can hit... I will say right now, I think on low taxes, if we didn't have any of the flu issues, we probably would get very close or even barely hit 30 standard of living on average, but since we're getting smashed by the flu constantly, it's kind of just slowly crippling us. Not like a terrible crippling, but just kind of like slowly bleeding things out. Which is painful. And then obviously there are the 5.8 million people still working that are working as peasants. It's nowhere near as bad as it was early on, but obviously that still is a detriment to the overall standard of living because they're not too high. And then I guess there are people working in certain areas like the railways, which aren't too profitable, but I guess technically gained a tiny bit more profitability because of the improved production method, I think. I'm not too sure. I haven't done the math very well on it, so I wouldn't take my word for it, because my word is probably wrong. The Anti-Mask League. Abandon anti-plague measures. I don't know, maybe we should. No, I'll just discredit them with science, because that's funny. To me. Oh, 29.8. Come on, please hit 30 so I can end this nightmare. It's not a nightmare, but it's like, oh my god, it's so close. It's so late. Entranced by the popular images of flawless silk dresses and fashionable jewelry produced by artisans, women hailing from as far as the United States of America have begun to journey to the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics to purchase our designer garments. It's the designers and workers who make such things possible. This is like perfect. I have to like at least take a screenshot of that. That is just perfect. To me, that is funny on so many levels. Ah, yes. There's the war. Oh, but it happened in the South where... Oh, good, good, good. It happened in the South where we haven't built it up as much. Where it's not built up as much, except for the sugar that I was going to start getting. And the plague is still spreading. Well, I don't care about the plague. I do, but I shouldn't. Well, I mean, no, you should care about the plague. It's a plague. It's trying to, you know, end everyone. Which is very bad. Oh, please, come on. Don't tell me the war is just... Oh, it's at 29.9. How many peasants do I need to rip out from their, like, voodoo-made farms? Because I have no idea how they're existing, to be honest with you. Just to get it to 30. I am literally running an anti-austerity program here. Yes! Yes! I don't care that it's getting +3 from standard of living modifiers right now. That is still amazing to see. Even without modifiers, it would be at 27 base. Yes, I know we're massively deficit spending. We could raise taxes to resolve it if we needed to. Like, yeah, we're bleeding. Yeah, it's a pain, but we've kind of reached our end time here. I can't continue this further. We are going to end it here in 1924. It's not 1936, but it has gotten very late. I need to upload this and then sleep for work tomorrow, which is now technically today. At some point, it became today. We're going to run through a couple of things before I kind of sign it off. First off, we have 123.58 million people as Russians, and almost 10% are Ukrainian. Very impressive. About 72% are atheists, and really curious, our smallest group is 160 UA. I just wanted to see what that was like. But you also have like your Belarusians, North Germans, Koreans, Uzbek, and English, Kazakhs, who all make up at least 1% of the population at some point. We haven't really been checking it because it almost never happens, but I don't think anyone gained an obsession. I am very much hoping that 1.8 has somewhat addressed obsessions. But I've been hoping that for several updates now because obsessions practically never happen, which is sad. They're very nice game changers. They used to happen all the time. Anyway, before I deviate too much, let's look elsewhere. Because this has already gone on for 3+ hours. Religion. Big atheist blob. Very big atheist blob. Spreading into the Protestants here. At some point... Wait. Okay, wait. Iran has state atheism, right? At some point, I think I know what happened. When we annexed Iran and released it, it gave them the Shiite religion, because that's what they had before, if I remember correctly. But they also had state atheism, so it didn't properly apply atheist. So what ended up happening is that they went back to Shiite and reconverted all the atheists to Shiite. Are they actively converting? They have to be. Because this area was like becoming atheist. Also, speaking of atheism, Ottoman Empire is atheist. Some atheism over here in an otherwise Catholic heartland. Iran is also prosperous, which is nuts to me. And is that with any modifiers? That is with 2 levels of modifiers from health insurance. That makes sense. What is our final population growth at? 0.62? That is not bad considering our standard of living level. You do have to take into account that some of the areas are dying because, you know, Plague. Our GDP is at 1.91. It actually just jumped up a bunch because a bunch of people went up in standard of living. And obviously, areas are not dying to plague anymore. They're not dying to throughput issues. And honestly, at the rate we're going, we would absolutely blow past 2 billion GDP without a doubt. Our GDPC, otherwise known as GDP per capita, is just under 9. That is crazy. And that is with 5.72 million working peasants. Imagine if they were working as well, if they were doing gainfully employed or even just unemployed on welfare. They would be demanding more goods. This would be even higher. The GDPC would absolutely be over 9. We actually never did the automated bakeries. Probably could have done that, but oh well. Culture. I do want to see if any wacky changes happened on the culture map. Belarusian is almost being overtaken by Russian. In one case, it is. There's actually almost more Russians in Mazovia than there are Polish. There's more Polish than there are North German here. More of Ukraine started becoming Russian over time, and I think the reason why is just because, for some reason, the Ukrainian region was getting the vast supermajority of our mass migration, and so a ton of people were migrating there and then converting to Russian because Russian is our only primary culture. Chuvash managed to maintain its primary culture majority there, but it's kind of a minority. Like a minority majority at this point. It's the highest number, but it's still a small portion. The English in Surgut. They wanted to work those oil fields, man. They heard we had a lot of tea. Korean is still Korean, makes sense. Korean's also over here, makes less sense. Yeah, nothing too wild. I mean, Han in England is probably a bit wild. The French overtook the Bretons. There's Russian in the Amazons, which is definitely a bit bizarre. Some Greeks. Yankee, Dixie, Russian. We did not make the District of Columbia majority Russian. It never really got the attraction it needed. It was basically just a massive port for us to fly flags at and just taunt the Americans. Oh, I didn't notice this, but yeah, the Baltic provinces increasingly became majority Russian. Some of them are still like Estonian and Latvian by majority, but slowly becoming more Russian over there. Finnish, Swedish, Norwegian, all makes sense. In fact, Finland is at 32 million GDP. It was at 43, but I think it fell down because of the plague, and you know it hasn't let up since. Iran fell. Actually, Iran has recovered economically. Oh, I guess it recovered economically because, yeah, parts of their competition. Oh! Delhi actually broke away. Okay, never mind. We really did suffer then, in that case. That is a big British Congo to steal. I mean, what else? The trade union's at 52% political clout. It's, like, still got such a majority. Oh, I know. Our power blocks, total GDP. This would be higher if the East India Company wasn't in a civil war, but it's 2.56 billion. So that is us plus all of our members, which are basically subjects and any subjects of subjects. Britain managed to recover economically, and everything else it has over 500 million GDP. It was able to recover from losing the Raj, so to speak. But I'm pretty sure we put a dent in its economic recovery. And I wouldn't be all surprised if they had to... God, they're in debt? Okay, well, that's what's happening. Then they're just deficit spending like us at that point. Oh, Korea's got a civil war. Yeah, I really stopped paying attention at some point. Also, would like to note, the Grain Guild did at some point become prosperous. At the start of this, it was not prosperous. Even that managed to make money. What is the biggest GDP? It looks like it's Kiev, and I don't know if it's, like, fully recovered to its actual state. Because, you know, again, plague. I can't stress this enough. The plague has been really ruining things. We could have just not done any of the lockdown measures, but, you know, then more people would have died, and that's not okay. Oh, just the affluency everywhere. Oh, it's beautiful. Isn't it beautiful? I'm having too much fun with this. I'm so sorry. The Belle Epoque causing the Russians to become obsessed with fine art was great, because now we actually have such a huge chunk of fine art demand, and that basically turns Uzbekia, which has way more people than it honestly should. This is way too many people for an area, because again, we had that arable land bug. The numbers here aren't going to make sense, but it's got 2% of the total GDP, and this place basically just makes tea and fine art, and that's like the primary production. I mean, it's going to make a bunch of paper soon if we let this continue. But yeah, it makes a lot. And as the wealth in this fills and the cash reserves divert to the workforce, I'm pretty sure they would slowly go up too and maybe get closer to like 23, 24. They actually just went up a little. Uh, but yeah, I don't think there's much else to go over. And if there is, you can ask in the comments. And I'd be happy to like dig it up and let you know and even try to share screenshots if possible. I don't know how cooperative YouTube is on that in the comments. But yeah, thank you so much for following this, whether this is the first one you saw or you followed all the way to the very end. This was a very fun ride, and I cannot wait to try all this again and other things in 1.8 and see what I can break. See if I can't get any of these numbers even higher. I know GDP-wise, I've gotten much higher than this. We're just kind of ending it off on a weird note with the Civil War and all that, and it's only 24. It's only 1924. But this was very fun. I hope you all enjoyed watching it, and I will see you next time we do a Victoria video or something else. Hope you had fun.